Welcome everyone to Haven of Horror. As always, I am Subject. I have Robert. Likes everything wild. I don't know. We're
Hello.
halfway. We're almost to the end of the season. There's no new nicknames for this.
It's
Uh,
fine. Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna splice these together, make everyone think that this was one long epic live stream. They'll
yeah,
be
of
none the
course,
wiser.
of course. All right. So Robert, we are back to finish
We are.
The Last of Us, and it's nice shiny
Yeah.
case. We were talking about this last week, but I don't remember what we said. I like this artwork a little bit more than the one on the Blu-ray, where it's kind of
Mhm.
just generic hero standing in front of a background.
Yeah, I like both. What I do like about this one probably doesn't show up great on camera, but you do get the cordyceps, like the fungus on the wall behind
Oh
them,
yeah,
so adds a little personality to it, and it's also got that shine
the
and
so
texture.
this
But yeah, I
doesn't
like
may
both.
have the
Yours,
shine, but the buildings are textured.
yeah, cool.
So like
Yeah,
it's
because
it is
yours
realism.
is really like post-apocalyptic. I
Yeah.
Am Legend vibes
I
that
kind
you're
of
supposed to be going
wish
for.
that I could have like the best of both worlds. Like you have the slip cover, but then maybe like that on this instead of it just being the
Hmm.
same.
For sure. I know I'm dropping my Blu-ray.
Don't do
But
that.
there is a 4K steelbook out there. One day we'll
I want
obtain it.
it. I want it so bad. What is episode 6 called, good sir?
Episode 6 is titled Kin.
Just Kin?
Kin.
Moon. That spells kin.
It's just it's a fancy word for sibling.
Well, it's not just siblings, any family. And it's not fancy. It's technically it's the opposite. That's what like the people in the South call it. We're kin. Our buddy Hayden probably says that.
What are we, some kind of kin?
What are we, some kind of
That line
kin
is in this
squad?
episode.
Subtitles on. I think it always says for like the hearing impaired, it's like, no, fuck you. I just want to make sure that I'm catching on the dialogue.
I just want to see the words. Yeah, exactly.
I said pause. All right, are you past the any maxed ads or anything?
Yeah, I am good to go.
All right, this
Because
is episode.
for people who need context, if you're watching this like on HBO Max, get past all like the recap and previews and stuff. We're starting it when the HBO logo pops up. Uh, if you want to sync up with us.
Yeah, what he said. Anyway, this is episode 6, as we've mentioned, titled "Kin." In 3, 2, 1, play. Couldn't find the timer program, so I was like hesitating. Like, well, we already started the countdown, but I'm not ready.
Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey.
Game of Thrones?
They were in that show. Like I said before, it'll be interesting to see if we get this exact same intro for season 2 or if they tweak it a little. I could see them going either way.
If they tweak it because Abby is basically the secondary protagonist
Mm-hmm.
and the antagonist.
I could see season 2 shifting away from like the more warmer tone colors we're seeing here, a bit more blue, a bit more wintry.
Well, we're
Given that
seeing
we
that
know
in
what's
the
coming.
posters.
Hmm.
Because I remember the posters for this were very green and brown, and the posters for this have been like white and black, and
Yeah, and we saw that all the way back when the initial game came out, where all the marketing was really around like that upfront summer section. You didn't really get a sense going into that game that, oh, this is gonna be like a year-long story where we see different seasons and stuff. Like all the marketing was primarily that summer stuff.
meanwhile, at hunting.
Hunting.
Is this the David episode?
No, we're a couple away from that. So this is so these are a couple of new characters invented for the show that I like. It's just a one scene.
I like this. They're.
Uh,
I like that actor. He's one of those that's like, oh,
Oh
that's
yeah,
that guy.
character actor man who's been in a million things.
Yeah.
uh, but it's very evocative of the game. Like just a couple of people that Joel and Ellie run into.
Well, and I assume that he's holding
Different
rabbits as a
directions.
reference to the rabbit.
Good call. Oh, my name's Joel. Do you think season 2 will get back to these people? Do you think we could see them in Jackson, or do you think we never touch on this again?
I'd be fine if we never touch on them again, but I think it could be fun if they're just like moved to Jackson for safety once we have that.
Because the context we're gonna get in the scene is they're asking for directions. They're like, "Oh, don't go that way. People disappear over there. There's bad people there. We don't fuck with that area." Which we'll later find out is Tommy's group. So you'd think that once Joel and Ellie go back, at some point Joel would think, "Oh yeah, remember that like nice elderly couple we met? Maybe we should go find him and invite him back to the
Not
community."
necessarily.
It's something I think.
This is Joel, the man that was like, "Yeah,
Right.
leave those guys on the side of the road to die."
Yeah, but these people are nice. Yeah, I could see them going either way. And it is a little addition that I like where they're kind of lost. They're like, yeah, we don't know where we are. Like, we have some maps, but we don't have GPS anymore.
I mean, it was 2003. They barely had GPS.
Yeah. Hey, many a dad in 2003 swore by GPS to their grave.
I remember MapQuest
Oh, God.
having to print out like 6 pages of directions.
Wind River Reservation, that's the name of that movie. It's in the same universe. I like that joke. What, there's Firefly people? God.
Oh, Jesus, what are you showing me here?
And that's a thing that the second game will play up a lot. Like, oh yeah, like every city kind of had like their own versions of the Fireflies, many of which failed. And I mean, the Fireflies obviously went across multiple states, but still, like, yeah, they aren't like as big and important as you're led to think they are at the start of the first game. So that's a little addition I like, where you have a couple of people who are like, yeah, we haven't heard of these fucking people. We don't know what you're talking about. But it's fine. Joel and Ellie are
We're
gonna
getting
find
really
them.
close to season 2.
Oh yeah, and this is a little shift in the timeline from the game, where at this point in the game we're in fall, and here in the show we skipped a little bit further and we're already in winter. That
It's
was
the
probably just a
meme.
logistical filming thing.
It's the
Yeah, that's the
meme.
meme. He's having the panic attack. Calm down, Joel. That, I like Ellie's honesty. Like, hey, if I lose you, I'm fucked. Don't have a fucking heart attack on me, you asshole.
saw an interview today that I thought was really funny, where somebody involved in the show, I don't know if it was the showrunner or one of the writers, was like, "Yeah, we're not going to be like Game of Thrones. We won't go past the source material."
Yep.
Just throwing shade at one of your own network shows.
Lessons were learned.
No, I respect that. I don't know if The Last of Us Part 2's ending works as an ending to a television show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've talked about it before. I think a lot of that epilogue is what they'll expand a lot in the show, and there's room for it. Again, it's interesting just because based on trailers, it sure looks like season 2's covering an awful lot of the game, but we'll see. They've talked about going to 3 or 4 seasons.
I think if they're smart, season 2 will be the Ellie stuff, and then season 3 can be the Abby stuff.
I think we're going to get that in some capacity. This is a scene that may have been cut from the game. I know there was concept art from the first game of Joel and Ellie around this campfire. And he lets her sip some alcohol for the first time. That's fun. Not the first time, but he doesn't know that.
You don't either, because you had to correct yourself.
And it seems like this where I do disagree with some fans who say that the back half of the show is kind of rushed. Where I like how much we're still taking our time. Like you get all these little quiet moments with the two of them that aren't in the game.
Right, but I think you're misunderstanding when people are saying rushed. They rush through a lot of the game sequences, which is what makes it feel rushed. This is fine, but personally, I'm watching an adaptation. I want to see the stuff that I here for adapted. They aren't as interested in that in this back half. They just want to move past that to get to the next talking scene, which isn't inherently good or bad. But I can see people saying it's rushed when, the hospital scene is like 10 minutes, it feels like, from memory. We don't do any of the underground stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's no infected in this entire episode, from what I remember.
No, not in this one. And that is where I'll throw a bone. Like, we could have used a little more infected in the back half. Again, I don't think we needed any more, like, giant swarms. Again, that's really fun for gameplay, and that works for the game. But a few more encounters with, like, some clickers and stuff.
I feel like Jeff Goldblum, you are going to have some monsters in your monster show, right?
We get a couple.
I don't see why we can't have scenes like this in set pieces from the game.
Yeah, and part of that's, of course, budget stuff. I mean, this is an expensive show, but still, we got a lot of those big set pieces in the first half, and, like, I get it, that there are budget constraints. Like, we are coming off of an episode that ended very big.
Then you need to plan out your episodes better. And pick a consistent runtime.
That's the modern streaming method, John.
This show takes it to an extreme. Most streaming shows are 50 minutes to an hour. It's consistent. This show is 30 minutes one episode, 40 minutes another, an hour and a half.
None of them are 30 minutes. Are you gonna check them?
I am gonna check. You might, to be fair, you might be correct. It's been a minute since I've looked.
And the first episode being the longest, being an hour and a half. That's not unusual for big shows like this. We often will have an extended premiere. The Walking Dead did that. But also, the first episode is actually just the first 2 episodes combined into one. But scenes like this banter is really good. Like her
Okay,
learning things,
so
picking up on things.
you were correct. None of them are 30 minutes, but we have at least 3 that are 50 or under. Just pick a consistent runtime. Yes, I get the first episode is like the first 2, but then why is episode 3 an hour and 10 minutes?
It's fine.
And then why is the finale only 45 minutes?
I agree that the finale could be like 5 to 10 minutes longer, but also, again, yes, they cut the whole underground sequence, which is fine. You're not missing any big story stuff there until the ending, which
No, but it would
they
provide some
work
much
into the
needed
show.
action in this back half of the season.
And I don't know. I think the second to last episode has plenty of tension. Again, I could have used some more, like just individual infected encounters. Like that's fair. But as far as the finale goes, again, I just don't think it's rushed because like if you're just looking at the cutscenes and take out the gameplay of the game, the final spring section, that's like 20 minutes
But
of
the problem is
cutscenes.
The Last of Us is not a cutscene only game. They tell
Mhm.
story through gameplay. So I
And
can't just
most,
separate the two.
yeah, but most of that gameplay story stuff that's there is in the show. That's why it's 45 minutes. I agree that I think the finale could have been 5 or so minutes longer,
Like,
but
okay, for
everything that's
example, we,
important needs
we
to be
we're
there.
doing these long walking shots, which are cool, sure. But you could be doing, let's see, what point in the game is this? Because this is before Tommy.
Yeah, we're in fall. Oh, that's a bit from the game. Ellie practicing trying to learn how to whistle. But there's lots of walking sections in the game.
Okay, so this is
This is
right
gameplay.
after. This is right after Henry and
Sam and
Sam,
Henry have died. Yeah.
and before Tommy. So really, we're instead of doing stuff from the game, we're expanding sections that don't need to be expanded.
Not
Because
by
in the
much.
game,
Like
you
like
go
like
straight from Tommy and from Sam and Henry to Tommy's. Like you're right outside their base.
yeah, but there's like the dam section. Like it's still like 20 minutes of gameplay.
You could have done the damn section.
Well,
Oh.
you kind of get it here, but
Uh-oh. Uh,
but
I'll
uh-oh.
be right
Are
back. My
you
disc is messing up.
Oh boy. You never know what to expect on a live stream. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, this is just some good Joel and Ellie walking stuff. Yeah, and that's again, it's true to the gameplay. There's a lot of walking in that game. And oh boy, who are these people? This is a little different from the game. But we make this a lot more tense of people from Tommy's group confronting them. That seems great. This is a great addition to the sequence. The Jack Jackson community using dogs to sniff and see if people are infected or not. And there's a lot of tension here because you're like, is the dog going to pick up on that on Ellie? Like, you don't know. That's great.
No, I do like that addition because when you think about it, they don't test people like just let anybody
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, again, it works for the game. It's not a problem with the game, but we get through that very quickly where Tommy's there and says, "Oh, they're good. Let's come on in." But having him not present in this sequence adds a lot more tension to it.
I might be a few seconds behind, but it should be fine.
It's fine. I'm currently at
I have the
oh shit.
timestamp on the live stream,
All right.
dude. It's all good. No, I mean I
But
would
yeah,
still argue that is a problem with the game because it's not that isn't gameplay or cutscenes. That's just simple logic. Like, why aren't they testing people?
mhm. Yeah, it's a nice little surprise when the dog's cool. And again, I'm curious how this is going to lead into season 2 because here the Jackson community is shown as a little more aggressive
Although
up
this
front.
does raise a question. So they use dogs to smell infected, right?
Mhm.
But they can't smell it in Ellie.
Right.
So does that mean they can't smell it in other people? What is this test good for then?
I think well, no, it's they use dogs to smell and see if people are infected or not. I think it where it stops for her, they explain it later with like the brain and everything. But I think the idea is you just have to be further along for the dog to pick up on it. Um,
Yeah, but in
since she's
this,
not
it
fully
seems like it
infected.
moves really fast. Because she's losing, because Tess is losing control like 5 minutes after she's bitten in this.
Yeah, but as we see, Ellie's immune.
I
Like
understand that.
so, no, it just it stops at a certain point because of the
But
thing
my
with her
point
brain.
is, if that is to sniff out infected and they have to be in late stage, so you would have to get bitten minutes before you came across this community and then hope that the dogs smell it.
It can take people up to a few days to fully turn.
But that's
And
not what we've
still, these
established
people,
in this show.
yeah, but these people are out in the middle of nowhere. Like they don't know Joel, they don't know Ellie. Like for all they know, one of them could have been bit 5 minutes ago. Like so, yeah, I get
Except for the fact that there's no fucking infected around.
it. They talked about them earlier. They're avoiding them, and this scene's great. I actually like this reunion in the TV version more than the game. They really build this up more.
Well, that's just because this Joel is way more emotional.
There's no emotion in The Last of Us. Did you even play those games?
Cool.
And this is a section of the game I really like how we expand on, where the game adds like those action sequences with the raiders that you don't need for the show, and it's also like in the context of the game, Joel and Ellie are here for like a few hours and then leave, and I like that in the show. It's like no, they're here for a couple days. They really stretch this stuff out, and I think it works.
I like the game version better just because that would be more how estranged siblings would act.
I think both work, and we
And
got our little
I
Dina
didn't say
cameo.
they didn't both work. I'm just saying I prefer the other one. Jeez, so defensive, Robert. Um. Oh, okay. So that is officially supposed to be Dina.
Yeah, it's gonna be a different actress, obviously, but it's implied that that's Dina. Yeah, we get a lot more banter here with Ellie and Tommy than we get in the game.
Like that.
And now it's a Christmas show.
Knew it.
And this is one of their most impressive sets, though. Like wherever, like I think they found a town and then just built on top of it, just added more, and all this stuff from the game. Again, they really clearly looked more at the second game for how to construct Jackson here, and it's really
Well,
cool seeing it brought to
because
life.
okay, but to be fair, Jackson doesn't really exist in that first game. Or at least you don't see much of it.
Well, right, you don't see it. Like the town is there, but we just get
We're
an
only at the
establishing
power
shot of
plant.
that. Right. But I will say one thing I should have mentioned up top. As much as I like this episode, I do think this is the one for me that covers more of the game than maybe it needs to. Like if I were to split any episode into two, it would be this one. Not that I think anything is rushed. It's just there is more covered in this one than I think we need. We'll get to it by the end, but this is the episode I think you could have split into and expanded on more on the back half and had more run-ins with infected and stuff that you want.
That's the other thing is just 9 episodes are such a weird, arbitrary number to have.
Yeah. Well, and again, it was originally 10, which makes more sense. What year do you think it is, John? 1999? We don't make
Fucking.
25 episode seasons anymore.
I mean, we typically make like 10 to 12.
It depends on the show.
Name one show besides this one that is a 9 episode season of a modern TV show.
I mean, well, any Disney Plus show.
Those don't count.
10.
Those are movies stretched out into 6 hours.
But The Mandalorian, I think, is consistently 8 episodes.
Is it?
I think so. Definitely under 10.
I haven't went back to those since they came out. I'm almost scared
and
too.
That's a more episodic show. That's not a movie stretched out until season 3.
Oh, I didn't see season 3.
You don't need to. I really like Pedro Pascal and Gabriel Luna's chemistry here as Joel and Tommy. And again, this is one argument we get in the game that I like that we get to cover over multiple conversations. It's not constricted by being just one cutscene. It's again, we get to let it breathe and see different shades of this relationship. So I like that you get a bit more variety here with them bickering and getting along and then getting angry. You get,
The other thing I don't like in this
their relationship.
in this whole Jackson thing, and I don't think we've gotten there yet. Is there somebody that has that line about so communism? It's like,
yeah,
okay, that was a dumb joke.
I thought it was fine. And I like this addition, and it'll be interesting how it plays later in the show. I do like the addition of Maria being pregnant and how that kind of adds to the bitterness and resentment Joel's going to have coming up, where he's not happy for Tommy hearing that news. It's like, it just rubs salt in the wound, over losing Sarah. And like, oh, so now you get to move on and have a family, and I don't. Like, again, it's petty as fuck, but it's consistent with Joel's character.
I don't know if you needed a kid to do that. You've already got all the ingredients there. And that's just going to make season 2 feel more miserable when what happens to Tommy happens.
Yeah. But I'm also looking for, like, we've seen a couple photos. I'm looking forward to seeing, like, that Uncle Joel dynamic because the kid's gonna be there. But this also adds to Tommy's resistance
I
in
do like this
going on
conversation
this
where it's
mission.
like, no, we did those things, which is a little different. Where Tommy in the game lets Joel take all the blame for that.
Mhm.
I'm confused on the age difference here. So Joel is supposed to be like 56, on the upper
Mhm.
half of the 50s. How old is Tommy?
That is a good question. I mean, he's at least in his 40s.
Yeah. I don't know. And part of it is the actor. He doesn't look 40 to me.
Yeah, I think he's about 40 in real life.
Oh, no, wait. This one was the meme, I think.
Mhm.
Or maybe it was both of them.
Mm. Yeah, that's a nice little moment of like this girl who reminds him of Sarah.
I think you
It's the
mean
PTSD, Joe.
Sarah.
Sarah Harding.
I love the use of the main theme here.
Mhm.
Although it is a little like funny that he just so happens to set his eyes on the one person that has the exact same haircut as Sarah.
Yeah, that makes sense though. You pick up on and think irrational things when you've lost somebody that close to you, even if it's many years later. Your brain will still spot someone in a crowd and go, "Oh wait," you know. And now Ellie's wearing the jacket from the game. I recognize that.
Oh, you are ahead of me. Right now she's wearing a pink robe. I was like, what are you talking about? Yep, there's the jacket.
I like how we expand on some of this stuff with Ellie and Maria. That all happens off. Most of that happens off screen in the game, including uh, Ellie mentioning later that Maria told her about Sarah and Joel's past. Like I like that we actually get to see that conversation in the show.
That's the stuff that you should be expanding on, not creating pointless scenarios that don't have anything to do with anything.
That's hyperbolic.
Is it though? Okay, so I have a question, and this is going to sound weird because it just popped into my head. Do you think that they're with this version of God, Sarah? No,
Maria.
Maria, because we give her more of a backstory. Does she remind you at all of Michonne from The Walking Dead because I think she's going to mention that she has like 2 kids from before that were killed.
That were killed. Yeah, I can see that. Maybe it's just the hair. I don't know.
I would say she's also got a similar haircut.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, so we're 20 years out of the outbreak, right?
Yeah.
She was an assistant district attorney. How old is she?
40s? I don't know.
Okay, so what did she just skip law school?
She got out quick. I don't know. Are you an expert on this?
I mean, I'm not, but I know somebody that went to law school and was a lawyer, and it took him a long time.
Yeah, you can get a law license anywhere. So yeah, this actress is in her mid 40s.
This version of Maria is kind of bitchier. Like she just
Yeah,
instantly has a grudge against Joel for nothing.
well, it's the stuff that she's been told about from Tommy. She's very like, even though Tommy owns up to the bad things he did, like you mentioned that line earlier, her interpretation of those events is like, yeah, but Joel was the older one, he was the bad influence, and you were a worse person when you were with him. Again, that's a very human, believable flaw. You know, if you meet and really get to know somebody who's out of like a toxic relationship and you only hear about that person through them, you're more likely to attribute the flaws you see or hear about to the person you don't know. And I like that we get to see one of Jackson's movie nights. That's not a movie I'm familiar with Richard Dreyfuss. But that's a thing that's mentioned in the second game is they have a projector and they do these movie nights, so it's cool that we get to see that. And I really like this quiet heart to heart scene we get with Joel and Tommy. And like, and maybe that's how it works with the dogs. Like, maybe it's not that they can smell if people are infected. Like, it's the sickness that they smell. You know, like it's fine. And so, like he said, like Ellie, she's infected, but she never got sick. You know, it never reached that next stage. And some of these outside night shots at Jackson are just gorgeous and look right out of the second game with all the lights and the snow.
We can only see Jackson in the snow.
Like it was written in stone, John. These are facts we have
Apparently,
to abide by.
I think we talked about it when we were playing Resident Evil the other night. But I was reading some more on the Switch 2 games. For digital, it's $80. If you want a physical copy, $90. They are out of their goddamn minds.
They're getting greedy.
And what
that's
pisses
what
me
happens
off
when you ride high.
What pisses me off is that Nintendo games never go on sale.
Yep. In some cases, go out of print if you buy them physically.
But I like a lot of what they're doing with the hardware. They showed that Metroid Prime Remaster can run at 120 FPS. For a first-person shooter, that's big.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and the Switch 2 costs more than a PS5. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, so what is it, like 600?
It's $450. But you can
cool.
get the digital PS5, which is stronger, mind you, for $399. But don't worry, on Switch 2, you can play Cyberpunk at 30 FPS.
But I really like this vulnerable moment for Joel. I think it's earned. We take our time with it, and it's him saying, I want you to do this because I don't believe in myself anymore. I don't know if I can. Like, I'm going to let her down. Which is foreshadowing.
Like this, but the problem, this is the problem that I have with this take with Joel. In the game, Joel says all of this with one sentence. Tommy, I need this. You get everything you need. But this show has to constantly have him over-explain everything. I get it. He's miserable. He's having a hard time. Having panic attacks.
I don't think it's over-explaining. It's just, like you said, this is a softer take on Joel. He is a bit more stone cold in that game, and of course, in better physical.
He drinks beer and rambles about Austin 3:16.
But I like that the show takes the opportunities to lean into that stuff of his age. Like, he's killed a lot of people, he's done a lot of bad things, but he's not physically that man anymore. He is getting up there in age and is starting to feel it. It's what we call a monologue, John. I forgot you were one of those Flanagan haters.
Yeah, I like the monologue. It's just I've seen this scene done better.
Yeah, but just agree to disagree. I like both versions. I really like his speech about
I'm not saying that this is bad. They're both good. But I think if you can communicate all of that in one sentence, there's no need to have it turn into a 5-minute monologue.
I don't know if that is all communicated in one sentence. It's just a different take. And the game, Joel feels more like what he's afraid of is just getting too attached to Ellie. Like, oh god, I don't want to love somebody again and then lose them. I want to bail out of this situation the first chance I get. Yeah, the take's a little different. And the stuff with Tommy and Jackson in the game is like, we have a conversation, it's interrupted by an action scene because we need gameplay, and then that's done, and then we get back to that conversation, and the characters feel slightly differently about it. Here we get to let those scenes breathe a bit more. And then this just leads straight into one of the best scenes from the game.
Yeah, and shocker, they do it verbatim. And it's good. Do more of that.
But again, there's that gameplay stuff cut out that I just don't think you need here, like Ellie running away, stealing the horse.
I'm not talking about the gameplay. I'm talking about the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
There's dialogue that they changed that doesn't need to be changed. Because, shocker, when you just do the dialogue from the game, it's still good dialogue.
It is. I agree. And again, it's not 100% verbatim. There are little tweaks here and there, but it sticks very closely to it, and I think it needed to. 'Cause it's one of the
It
best
hits
scenes in the game.
the major lines that you need from the game scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because okay, so here's the thing, because you said it's two different takes. I disagree. I think in the game when he says I need this, it is a mixture of that and I'm getting older. Like it's harder for me to do this now. Whereas this Joel only tells him, oh, I'm getting older, like I'm falling apart, like I'm in bad headspace. And then when he gets to Ellie, it's no, you're not my daughter. I don't want anything to do with you. Like you get all of that in one line that takes 3 scenes in this.
And if we did the Tommy scene beat for beat in the show, I think it would have been fine. But I like that we expand on it. And again, it makes sense that he approaches both conversations.
Wait a minute, how is she so good in this scene? I thought she was going to be bad as
it. Bella nails it. Again, they're hard scenes to compare because you can never get that first reaction back. Like I said, as much as I like the show, I'm always going to prefer the game. That experience is impossible to top. But boy, that scene comes close. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but the idea in the game of Joel getting older and feeling his age and stuff, I've never really gotten that. But again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just like that that's a take that the show gets to lean into. Because it's a video game, so you have to be able to kill hundreds of people and run and stuff. But this is another addition I like.
Even then, with the gameplay, I think when you compare it with 2, you can see even in the gameplay you're limited by playing as a 60-year-old man or a 50-year-old man. He can't go prone. He can't really run. He's a tank. He's old and built. Whereas with Ellie, she's younger, agile. She can do more.
Mm.
That stuff is all there. They're able to be more subtle with it.
Like I said, I like that we get to stay in Jackson a little longer in this version. Characters have more time to reflect and collect themselves. And then in the game, Joel makes the decision for both of them. And I like how we play it in the show coming up, where Joel, instead of just ditching her or changing his mind, Joel says, okay, I'm going to give you the choice. We can go, or you can go with Tommy. And she's immediately like, nope, going with you. And again, their chemistry is great. Like I said, my only gripe with this episode is we're now 45 minutes in. I think we could have ended here. I don't think we needed like the next 15 minutes. I think we could have expanded
bandits. You could have the bandits strike because I don't think they do that.
No, they don't. Again, I don't need it.
Oh wait, because we're already at the I'm taking you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the gameplay stuff I was talking about earlier that I just don't think you need.
I mean,
for the show.
But you need some action, like that's the problem with The Walking Dead. You had episodes and episodes and nothing happening other than dialogue. You need to throw in some action. You need variety.
there's lots of story in this episode, and spoiler, we're gonna get there at the end of this episode. I was just saying, I think we could have ended it here and then gone to another episode. I do wouldn't mind. I do think the season could have been an episode longer. But the bandit stuff, yeah, I don't need it in the show. It's a drama. The story is happening. Action is happening.
What
Characters are
action
making
has happened
choices.
in this episode?
The conversations.
That's not action,
John.
That's not action. That's dialogue.
Oh my god, are we really gonna have this debate? Characters are making choices. They are changing.
That is not action. Action is
But you're-
gunfights, zombie fights, stuff like that.
But you're acting like nothing's happened in this episode, which is
No, that is not what I said. I said no action has happened.
But there's been tension, like when they run into Maria and that crew. Like, again, it's a drama. we just came off of an episode with lots of action and some big emotional, heavy moments. You need the breather in between, and this scene I like a lot.
Right. I'm sorry. I forgot. In TV shows, you only
action.
get one action scene per every few episodes. Thank God Daredevil didn't have any fight scenes after that first episode.
This shot's great. Their horse. Again, this is just the stuff that I think could have been expanded into its own episode. It's really good, but I think we could have ended that episode when they leave Jackson.
Yeah, because all you do
is you could have
had
had
her
more infected.
Or imagine the tension if she ran off like she does in the game.
I didn't need that in the show. I love how you agreed with me when I said that 10 minutes ago, and now you're changing your mind.
Because I must have misunderstood you. It's just funny that every time that there's something that from the game that could have been in here that would have, A, gotten you to what you wanted, where this episode is still an hour long, but they cut it off with them leaving. And B, would have added some fighting to this episode, which is why people feel it was rushed, because they just cut out all of the action. Action being two people fighting, not two people making a decision. I don't need that from the game. The game wasn't an action game. There was just talking and dialogue.
I thought it was a walking simulator.
That's true.
I don't disagree that I could use more infected and stuff. I just didn't need the bandits. I don't think we're missing anything.
Then switch it to she runs away, they go find her, and the infected show up.
I didn't need her running away. That scene plays totally fine in the show, where they're at Jackson for a couple days. He goes to see her in a room, and then they have that argument.
But you love tension. There's plenty of tension there if she runs away.
I didn't say it didn't work in the game.
Well, if it worked in the game, then it would work in this.
Not necessarily. This is a TV show. Like, it needs to be paced differently than the game. We can't have every conversation being interrupted by an action sequence. I don't disagree that we could have had a couple more in this back half.
There is no action sequences in this episode. I'm asking for one.
Yeah, we're gonna get there, John.
Okay, then I'm asking for two, because if I remember correctly, this one is barely an action sequence. They trimmed that.
Oh, it's very quick. Yeah. And again, it's fine. Like, it works, but this is the stuff in the episode I think we could have expanded more on. But again, we do get those really important conversations from the game. Like Joel telling Ellie about college, and this location's great.
Yeah, I'm so glad they cut out all of that, all of the laboratory stuff too. We're not going to get any exploring or.
Again, you get the important stuff. But this is
Robert. There's no monkeys. I need the monkeys.
I actually don't remember if they cut the monkeys or not. We shall see.
I actually don't remember either, but I just feel like they probably did, because the people who made this show hate me.
You were in a salty mood today. We're only one episode in.
If it makes you feel better, I love the next episode.
Next episode's great. Yeah, they're the monkeys. They are here. First time seeing a monkey.
I'm stating things that you could do and that you could, adapt in your adaptation.
This is all from the game. We are looking at stuff from the game. They are adapting plenty of it.
The bare minimum. Oh, they showed us a place from the game.
I love John. This is a 9-episode series, and you're calling it the bare minimum. I just don't agree with that. Imagine if this was a 2-hour movie.
I would be complaining just as hard. Like, if you're gonna do a show, then do it properly.
Complaining harder.
I'd probably be complaining harder.
Properly. Again,
okay, so lip service to a set piece from the game is enough adaptation.
We don't need every single set piece from the game put into the show.
I don't either, but if you're gonna have it, then do it properly.
But again, there's budget, there's sets we have to build, there's places we have to go to.
There.
I get why. Yeah, we're looking at a lobby. Just.
Actually, I'm looking on the outside, so.
Yeah. I get that there are budget constraints and you need to cut set pieces.
I understand that there's a budget constraint. You've already cut a bunch of set pieces, but you're already here. You can't hire a bunch of people with guns to come in and do a firefight?
I could have used a longer firefight. I think that's fair. Again, we trim it down to just one death that's gonna... That shot's kind of cool. It looks a lot like the game, like picking up the note. Which is right out of the game, and now we're gonna do the bit with the monkeys. Like, I agree. We could have had more action here. That's fine. We're gonna simplify it to just one kill. That's David's group is gonna be pissed over, which is fine because we get to learn more about that guy. So again, the essential stuff is here, like the important stuff is here. But I don't disagree that in this section, yeah, I could use a little more action and a couple more run-ins with infected. I don't disagree.
Robert, I'm going to introduce a concept. When you move from plot point to plot point, doing the bare minimum between plot points of adaptation, that's what we call cliff notes.
It doesn't feel like cliff notes to me at all. I think we take our time on the important stuff, and we did the monkey callback. Well, no clickers, no fireflies either. I think this is all paced fine.
I mean, hey, okay. I'll give them that. They did the monkey.
Monkey. You watched the monkey today, which I still haven't seen.
It was pretty good. I had issues, but... I'd love the show a lot more if they turned into monkeys.
Well, more shows should have that.
Yeah. The other thing that removing all of the bandits and the zombies adds that you're not thinking about, Robert, is this has been the easiest road trip on the face of the planet. These two have faced very little.
Did you watch the last episode?
That is the... Okay. So they faced a horde where the only one of them that was in danger was Ellie, and she hid in a car.
Crazy town. And a crazy town that they had to sneak around.
But other than that, like, this is one of the easiest road trips in the planet. They never run into it. They never run into the infected that they're supposed to be deathly afraid of.
They talked about them at the beginning of this episode. They're like, yeah, there was some infect in this area. We had to avoid that. And we got like that. They're at least talked about.
So they're the luckiest people on the planet.
You could say the same about the game.
But I can't, because they always run into infected or bandits or...
And they come out without a scratch because it's a game.
That's not true. I played the game. I died a lot in that game.
Yeah. Like said, I could have used a
Yeah,
couple more.
I'm
run-ins
glad
with
that this
infected
is
and
all we
cat.
got of that bandit encounter. He tackled somebody and got stabbed.
Yeah, that's right. No, I do like the way that bit's choreographed though, because the guy had a baseball bat, swung, missed, smashed it, and then stabbed him with the handle. Like I do like the way that fight was choreographed. And yeah, and again, the important stuff is still here. Now Joel is wounded. And again, this is an important scene we do let take its time.
Do we? That was the most
Yeah.
rushed fight scene of all time.
Yeah, but the fight isn't the important part. What comes after is the important part.
Okay, but without the fight, what comes next is just I don't know the climax without any build
more
up.
action sequences.
It would be
That's
like
fine.
if Daredevil didn't have a fight scene from episode 3 to the finale.
That's not what's happening here. And B, there are lots of episodes of Daredevil, I think you're just misremembering it, that don't have a lot of action. Like, the episode 2, the big hallway fight, the iconic hallway fight, most of that episode is just build up to that final 5 minutes.
And it's longer than the
That
fight
show
scene
is-
that we just got.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do build up, then I need the payoff.
I already said I think that's a section you could have expanded on.
And yet you keep arguing with me that it's not.
Well, I still think that episode is very good. The Jackson stuff's great. The stuff with Tommy's great. Pedro and Noah's chemistry is great.
7.5 out of 10.
But these next 2 episodes might be my favorite of the season.
This next one is one of my favorites. Yeah, I'm really struggling to remember how the timeline. Because in episode 8's got to be David.
Yes.
So then we're going straight from David to the hospital.
Yep, which is what the game does.
I shall see. Okay, hold on.
Have you played the game, John? I'm starting to question if you have.
There's stuff in between David and the hospital.
I mean, David dies, hard cut, spring. We're getting to the
You
hospital.
get you get the giraffe, you get the scene where she's
Yep.
You get the bus station. I bet you most of that stuff is missing. I think they do the giraffe.
The giraffes on the show, yes. But all that, again, most of that action the show doesn't need.
I
agree. I agree that I could have used a few more encounters with infected. I just don't need all of it.
Man, I need them to release the
gameplay section.
Last of Us game without any of the action. That'd be great.
It's a game, John. It's an interactive experience. This is not. This is a TV show. This is adapted for television.
Oh, okay. So I forgot there's no fight scenes in Game of Thrones or the Penguin.
Not
They
always.
never.
Not that. Those are very talky shows, John. Again, we're coming off of an episode that had a really big set piece.
Oh, okay. We're allowed one set piece per 3 episodes?
The pilot, the second episode, we've had some big set pieces in this show. Ay.
All right, this is all right.
You and your nitpicks.
It's not a fucking nitpick.
I get it. You're bored by the talkie scenes. I'm not.
I'm not bored, but you need variety.
I think there's plenty of variety.
Name the variety in that last episode.
We had some tension. We had some emotional moments. We had a little bit of humor. We had a cliffhanger. How is that not variety?
That's not what I meant. You're just being obtuse.
Okay. You're in a mood today.
All
I was not expecting this.
All All right, this is season 1, episode 7, Left Behind. In three,
Hell yeah.
2, 1, play. Just you know what I mean by variety. You're just being stubborn.
You're allowed to think that.
It's gonna be funny because I was really negative on that episode, but I still give the show like a 7.5 out of 10 overall.
Yeah, that's fine. For me, it's more like an 8 or an 8.5. Not too far off.
Imagine if it had been a 10 out of 10 like the game.
Like I said, I love the game. It's my favorite game of all time.
It's up there.
And again, it's as much as I love the second game, I am really curious how the show version's gonna compare to it, especially since we are doing multiple seasons on
I
it.
don't
Like,
want to
is it
hear
gonna
a
feel too
fucking
stretched out?
thing when the second season comes out, and if there's no action, you are not going to defend. Oh, it's the talky bits that are important.
It depends on the episode. It depends on the context. There are long sections of that game without action.
Not really.
The whole birthday segment
Birthday.
that
segment.
ends with some, with dinosaurs.
Oh, the Abby
in the
flashback?
museum. No, with Ellie.
Oh,
the
no,
museum.
the Ellie
That's
flashback.
a long section.
It's like 10 minutes.
Okay.
There's a difference between a 10-minute section with no action and a 40-minute episode of television with no action.
But I don't need this to be a nonstop action show. And like I said, if you're speed running that, those are long cutscenes. That's like 15 or 20 minutes if you're speed running it, and not if you're stopping to smell the roses.
Section has never taken me 20 minutes.
Those are long cutscenes. Anyway, here
Joel,
we're in
don't
the Left
die.
Behind portion. Joel,
Oh,
we got
we're
2 more
gonna cut
episodes.
the mall. I think the
What,
main
in
thing
the
I remember
Witcher
from this
section?
is the flashbacks. Well, this is Left Behind. Left Behind cuts between the mall and the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I think
But
we
we
just
didn't
cut
need
the.
that.
Of course, we didn't.
No, because it's a show.
I mean, it's important world building. You love world building.
Yeah. We get everything we need with. This went from being like one of your favorite episodes to they cut the action.
No, I like
this
the episode, but I can still acknowledge that they cut half of the thing that they're adapting.
That's fine.
I would not trust you with any of my work to be adapted.
John, it's an adaptation. I like the way they frame it as we open the episode, Fallout, Joel's dying, Ellie has to decide what to do. Does she leave him? Does she try to save him? What does she do? Then flashback. The episode is this flashback, giving us the context, giving us the backstory with Ellie and Riley. Then we'll end the episode with her saving Joel. Like, that's the important stuff.
I would not trust you with anything that I create to adapt. Good lord.
You should not. I'm not qualified.
Yeah, you'd cut out everything and say, "Oh, you didn't need it."
This is a series. How is that? And the game takes like 10 to 12 hours to play. It's not that much shorter.
Is your
I like
episode
this.
flickering? I can't tell if that's the lighting.
Yeah,
or...
it's. Yeah.
Okay, no, now that we're out of that room, I was like, oh god, don't tell me my TV's going out or something.
That would suck. Yeah, no, just the lights in the gym were flickering. But I do like this extra backstory we get for Ellie. This idea that she was almost on this path to becoming a Fedra agent. And Fedra agent and agent. And I like this guy too. This is just a one scene character, but somebody who again breaks that illusion of like all of Fedra being evil. Like, now that this guy seems pretty reasonable, like he's doing his best. And the offer he makes her is very enticing. Of like, look, you could be a Fedra agent like me. Like, you're strong. You can do it.
You're a loser, like me.
And I like that what he's describing, what her life could be, is kind of where we saw Joel at the start of the show. Just the shit jobs he was doing, officially outside of the smuggling stuff.
Yeah.
It's just look, you follow the rules, you become an officer, you're gonna be great. It's gonna be fine.
I think we're fine.
Yeah, this might be this and the next one I think are Bella's best episodes. I think they're just exceptional here.
I did forget about this expansion on the school stuff.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah, this stuff
like
we're just
this is
told
still
about.
probably my favorite episode in the back half.
And I forget, does she have the Walkman in the first game? We draw a lot more attention to it in the second one.
I don't remember it being in the first one.
And I like just all the props here we get in our room, all the stuff from the game. Like the pun book, the comic book.
That's a good way to do those collectibles.
Mhm.
Why did we never make a Savage Starlight comic to like tie into this?
I don't know. Yeah, and I know you could like read like the summaries, right? And then in the second game they do the playing cards where you can like read the character descriptions and it's like, ooh, if you pay attention, like you can pick up on like what this character represents in the new. And I never read all that stuff.
You're fine with cutting out all the world building. You don't read any of it.
I read the Ish stuff. His story's great. Are you gonna swear on camera that you read every playing card description collectible that you picked up in The Last of Us 2? And then took notes?
In The Last of Us 2, I did read them once when I did my platinum run because I had to collect them.
And, I like that she has a Mortal Kombat 2 poster.
This actress that plays Riley, she's somebody.
Storm
Um,
Reed. She's really blown up the last few years.
yeah, I don't remember what I've seen her in other than
Did,
this.
did you ever see that movie? Which one was she in?
Oh,
Was it
she's
Missing?
she's Idris Elba's daughter in The Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, she is. Yeah, she's in it. Before this, she was in that Wrinkle in Time movie.
You remember
That almost killed
that?
her career. That
That
almost
movie
killed
was
her
a.
career.
I don't even remember like why was that such a disaster? Was it just that nobody
I
went to
don't.
see it?
Yeah, let's see. Ooh, God. Yeah, it cost $130 million and made $133 million.
Yeah.
I just heard like the tone and everything was just off. But I don't know. I never saw it. But so she was in that. She's in the Suicide Squad. Oh, she was also in the Invisible Man. Uh,
Yeah.
I like the movie. Yeah, and Missing, I've seen her in. She's the lead in that. Did you ever see that or Searching? Those were those found footage movies where like the whole thing takes place on like a web camera.
That explains
Um,
it. I try to avoid those.
Missing was really good. I've never seen Searching.
But most
Uh,
importantly, Robert, she was in The Nun 2.
oh, great.
And that was the last movie that she was in.
Well, they can't all be winners.
Oh, she's in Euphoria.
Oh yeah, she was in Euphoria. Yeah, I
I
think she was Zendaya's character's younger sister, which is
Yeah.
weird to think about that, but that was like 6 years ago when that show started.
Yeah, and they're only on season 3.
I don't know why it takes so long.
I have
But
no
this
idea.
set,
I watched like half the pilot and I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
I didn't have that reaction.
I hated every single character.
But I love this
But
set. The
she's
whole
perfect as
detail.
Riley.
Mhm.
Weirdly, she kind of looks like Game Riley.
Yeah, no, that they got pretty spot on with this casting. Of course, I think she's wearing a wig, and once you notice that, you can't unnotice it. It's fine.
She's got a headband on. It's fine.
That helps. But the camera does draw a lot of attention to that window. Again, I mentioned earlier that running motif of the window uh, through this season, which I like a lot. And again, I am impressed by how much they get to cover here back in Boston. And yeah, they only get one episode together, but their chemistry is just fantastic. And like I said, they really nailed the atmosphere of the game, just with the set decoration and the cinematography.
It never looks better. I'll give you that.
Hey, look, she has to shake the flashlight, just
Oh
like the
god, 0
game.
out of 10
Your
episode.
favorite feature.
I'm having PTSD. One of the unfortunate things about adapting this is because you're just stuck with that actress. This isn't a complaint, just a note. I can't tell how far back this takes place because she looks the same as she does in the current. Uh,
At least, so how far back are we? I think she. Well, we know how far. So this is 3 weeks before Joel meets Ellie. So I mean, this is all in the span of like
oh, wait a minute, you're
6 months.
right. Because
Yeah,
she says it in the game. She said she's bitten 3 weeks ago. For some
yeah.
reason, in my head, the flashbacks in Left Behind were like a year prior.
Hmm.
But you're right.
I like this. This is an addition I like. This body they find. Them finding the alcoholists from the game, but they added this little bit of them finding this corpse, and then his body just flying through the floor. That's a good gag. Don't drink that. And again, Bella's comedic timing is a big reason why I think they work as Ellie. Like that's an important aspect to that character. You got to nail is Ellie's just really funny.
Okay, filming again.
But I do like that they gave this flashback the same framework that it has in the game with being in winter and then flashing back. That I like that we didn't move this earlier. In the show, we flow pretty naturally into it. In the game, as much as I like Left Behind, I still wish we had the option to play an extended version of it where that could all be put in the game. That would have been a nice addition for part one when the remake came out. Was to have Left Behind bundled with the main story and just one continuous gameplay experience. I think that could have been cool as an alternative. Would you like to play the game with that all bundled together, or do you find them being separate things, or would you
Love
like
it.
the option?
Love an option to do that.
Because on a first playthrough, I think the original version is preferable. Where one of the best bits in that game is when we think, "Oh God, did Joel die? What's going on?" Hard cut to winter, and then you get that great meme, infamous scene with the rabbit getting shot with the arrow. And Ellie, you have a lot of questions during that scene of is Joel alive? How much time has passed? What's going on? So that works great for the game, especially on a first playthrough. But on a second playthrough, it would be nice to have the Left Behind stuff all put in there. For me, anyway. That's a shot that looks right out of the game. Looking up with just the hole in the ground, you see the brick wall and all like the greenery and leaves, the vines coming through. Like that, this set's great. Just shaking the flashlight again.
Seizure.
And I think a lot of this was a real mall that I think was about to be demolished or something. That they then got to just shoot in and dress up. I shot of Ellie looking at everything. That's a green screen shot. I think it's pretty well integrated. But
So
when they're on the
they
bottom,
had a mall, but they couldn't do the mall section of Left
two
Behind.
malls, yeah,
Oh, because you can
you
only
can
make
only
a mall
afford
look
one.
like one mall.
Yeah, but you need fake snow and all this stuff. I just don't. So in the game, we're cutting back and forth between Ellie in the winter, and she's going through this mall looking for supplies. And of course, being in a mall is reminding her of this event, and that's why we're cutting back and forth. It works great in the game. I'm just not missing it here. Like this is the stuff that's more important. It's paced
So her
well. The
getting
chemistry
medicine
is
for Joel
great.
isn't important.
We get it's at the end of the episode, John,
All the world
and
building
is going
isn't
to lead into the
important.
next episode. This bit's great with the escalator. Very relatable. I don't know if you had this. When you're a kid, an escalator is awesome, and then at some point in growing up, you find out that they're actually horrifying and can kill you, and then you're
So,
terrified of
funnily
them.
enough, because growing up where I was, we didn't have escalators, so I didn't get those till when I was an adult, and I was like, "This is the worst thing I have ever had to experience in my life." The going up ones are fine. It's the going down. I feel like I'm falling.
For anyone watching, always check your shoelaces before going on an escalator.
And your pants.
And check everything.
I watched Final Destination.
Probably the best scene in that movie.
I think that's 4.
Yep. Oh, we got the Dawn of the Wolf poster. That's great. Yeah, and this is the stuff that I just find so fascinating about Ellie and these characters. People who grew up in the apocalypse, who just have like these context clues for what life is like and just how weird our current reality is. From their perspective. That's the stuff that makes these characters so interesting. And Bella does a really good job selling the insecurities and things
Remember
this
Gap?
character is depressing. I do remember the Gap.
For the record, this is how you do an episode built fleshing out a side character while also developing your protagonists.
Yeah, this episode also does that. Like I said, this and 3 are good companion pieces for me. Like 3, you get a full life. You get a full romance. The tragedy of this episode is what could have been. You know, these characters who grew up together, who are best friends, but don't until the very end get to
Only
express
Joel
their
and
full
Ellie were in
feelings
that
with each other.
episode.
They are in that episode. They're in a lot of that episode, actually.
5 minutes is not a lot.
They're in like 20 minutes of that episode. We just did a commentary on it. You want to go check?
They're not though. Joel's in more of it because he has that brief scene in the flashback.
Well, he has that flashback in the middle, but there's a lot of Joel and Ellie up front and a lot of Joel and Ellie at the end. We just watched the episode, John.
We did, and 90% of that episode is not Joel or Ellie.
That is incorrect.
This is how you do a flashback that builds up side characters while also remembering who the protagonists are.
It does remember the protagonists are. They book in the episode. But yeah, this episode's also great. And I think I do prefer this one. But it's called Variety. I like the variety.
Yeah.
Again, their chemistry is just so good.
Yeah, this episode's
They
great.
get all these important bits.
Shocking what happens when you take a segment of the game and just adapt it, right?
Yeah, and by adapting it, they also cut the stuff in Winter in the Mall, which it didn't need. Because this episode's great. It
I mean,
works
I
in
won't
the
dis-
game.
I don't
Yes,
disagree. It
doesn't
didn't need it. I still would have liked to have seen it here, but
Well, the way we frame it in this context is we start not just with Joel dying and her having to try to save him. It's in the show version, Joel tells her, "Leave me. I'm dying. Go back to Tommy." Like that, he tells her to go. And then she has that choice she has to make. Does she leave him or not? And then we cut to the flashback, and we're in the flashback episode. And then the end of this episode will pay off that opening of her choosing to stay with him, you know.
man, if only we had like the world building that you get in those.
This is world building. Like I said, I like the give and take. You can't put literally everything in the game
Not
in the show. That's
asking
what
for
adaptation
everything.
is.
But if it were up to you, we'd cut out like half the game.
They didn't though. They kept in most of it. They kept in the important stuff. I agree that I could have used more run-ins with Infected in the back half. That I agree on.
You know
But
how you
for
fix
example-
that? You put the flash forwards back in. Wouldn't it have been tense and I don't know, horror to have Ellie have to try to survive out on her own, get medicine for Joel, and deal with the infected?
In this episode, we get everything we need. And then in the next episode, we're going to run into David, and that's going to be a problem. And that stuff's only going to be great. But in adapting it, there is world building stuff that I love in the game, like the Ishmael stuff, like all these notes you find, like piecing together this whole story. We don't need all of that in the show. I like that. That's something that works as just an Easter egg. You know, you get the reference, you get the location, but we don't need to dwell on it.
Reference. We don't do anything with the present small in this, which is it didn't happen.
Because the show doesn't need it. We get the important part of her finding a needle and thread at the end.
Well, thank God for that.
Because we get the important. This is the important stuff.
It's all
This is
important.
backstory. Also, we're talking about a segment that wasn't even in the game in the first place. This is DLC.
I understand that, but if you're adapting it, I'm going to hold you to the standard of the thing that you are adapting.
But you're a very literal person, and if you're making a book, a movie, you have to put every single line and every single bit of information from that book in the movie, and I don't think you do. In adapting it, you need to know when to cut stuff.
But I clearly am willing to compromise. I like the Harry Potter movies, and that's missing a fuck ton of information. In fact, sometimes to its detriment.
Mhm.
But I see what we could have had. It would have been really cool to get Show Ellie as a survivor on her own. Something you haven't
We'll
seen
get
in
that
the
in the
show
next
yet.
episode.
Yeah, she survives real well being held in a cage.
That's from the game.
I understand that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that the present set stuff from Left Behind would have shown a different aspect, and it would have maybe, I don't know, helped build up to season 2 where she's gonna have to do all the action stuff.
No, but the show plays it smart holding off of that until the David stuff. Because that's when that killer in her gets to come out, and it's awesome. That's the thing with Ellie in the first game. Again, not saying it's bad, but when she becomes a killer, we don't really dwell on it. We don't explore it. It's
And
because
with
it's a video game and you have
what
to shoot people.
did you play?
Until
She kills David and shuts down.
which happens in the show. Yeah, well, okay, I'll retract that a little. The first time she kills in the game is when she saves Joel and shoots that guy in the face, which we do in the show. So she has a moment there where she's like, "Oh God, I think I'm going to be sick," and then after that, she's killing NPCs left and right and doing fine, which again works fine in the game, but in the show, when we build up to her, again, that's a great scene in both versions when she finally kills David. When you see that Hannibal really come out, like
We're
both
killing
versions totally
infected
earn
and
it.
being unaffected and still have that mean something.
But you also get that scene in episode 3 with like the infected that she finds who's trapped, and she's like playing with it. She stabs it in the head. Like they do seed and set up like that killer.
The weirdest judge. Well, they did this thing 3 episodes ago, so they don't need to do it again now.
The gameplay by its nature is repetitive, and that's fine. We don't need all of it put in the show. That's all I'm saying.
But you just agreed with me on the last episode that we could use some more infected. But every time I pitch a place where we can put more infected, you're like, oh no, we don't need that.
Yeah, but this episode I think is perfect, so we don't need it here. The last episode I thought could have been split into 2, where you could have had more run-ins with infected.
But I pitched a place for infected there too, and you're like, oh, we don't need that. That would be like if you took the Dawn of the Dead movie as it is and just cut out every action scene after the first one. But we don't need them. That's not what that movie's about.
I mean, there's long stretches of that movie without action.
But there's always another action beat to come back to. In this, you go, I'm pretty sure, from episode 6 through to 8 with little to no action sequences.
That's not true.
I like that we get a fighting game here.
Yeah, and I like that it's just Mortal Kombat 2, and in the game it's something made up here, because, it's HBO, it's Warner Brothers, so, it's Mortal Kombat. I think that's fine.
Well, and this is the part where I will agree with you. What they do in the game works better in the game because she's imagining it and you can just hear the sounds. Whereas with the show, you have to show what they're doing.
You have to see it, yeah.
Although it is a little weird that these machines still work. But whatever.
Those things were built to blast. Some of them probably would.
I don't know about that. Arcade machines were a scam.
Although it is funny, that does remind me of a criticism I heard for people who didn't play the game, where we did set this up in episode 3, which is a scene from the game where Ellie finds the arcade machine that's broken, and it's like, this is so cool, I wish I could play it. And Joel's like, yeah, whatever, that's a bit from the game. And in the show, I remember when that episode aired, I saw a couple people complaining online, like, how does Ellie know about arcade games? Isn't this the apocalypse? That's a plot hole, that doesn't make sense. How would Ellie know about arcade games? It's like, what?
The cinema sense of
oh yeah.
criticism. Oh my god, it's spooky.
It's getting creepy. The dolls are scary. The dolls are gonna come alive, John.
I hate this flickering light bullshit.
The set's great though, like the makeup and the
I don't
attention
know.
to
I
detail
can't
is
see
so
anything.
good.
The lights keep flickering.
No, I can see it fine.
I saw it a little bit better when the camera got close enough, but although I do have a question: where the fuck did they get quarters for this thing?
They talked over it. She smashed a thing open. And a bunch dumped
Oh,
out.
okay. Okay, yeah, I missed that.
And there's a lot of Ellie and Riley stuff in the game, and a lot of optional stuff that you can miss. I think they pick the best ones for the show, like the brick throwing contest. We don't get in the show, and I think that's fine.
Bullshit.
Um, I like that we got the pictures, we got the arcade. We're gonna get the Halloween shop later. We get the pun book, volume 2. See, if you were adapting it, you would have had Ellie read every single pun and spent the next 5 minutes of the show on that scene
Because
from
I
the
don't
game.
need it one for one. I just don't see the need to cut out large sections that are important to the, say it with me, pacing of the story.
Yeah, and I just think it's better paced than you do. And this is a little different. I think this is interesting, Ellie. Uh, Making this more of like Riley's current hideout that the Fireflies ever posted at, and finding this realization that Ellie sees that Riley has these pipe bombs, and suddenly it kind of breaks down the myth of the Fireflies just a little bit, where it's like, oh, you this isn't fun anymore. Like you were gonna bomb people, and then when she's applying, it's like, oh, that could be me, like because Ellie knows that being a Fedra soldier is on the table, and like, oh, I could get like blown up by somebody, and that could be by you, and that's fucked up. Like,
It's a little addition.
just the nuances of teenagers and becoming a freedom
You
fighter.
know
What
why
does that
that
mean
works?
exactly?
Because they don't substitute it for what actually happened. It's just an addition. We don't remove, we just add.
Yeah, we do both. And sometimes in adapting things, you need to remove stuff.
If it was up to you, they'd remove like 75% of the game. Just replace it
That's
with the
not true at
walking and
all.
talking parts.
No, I'd say at least 75% of the game is in the show. And then again, right out of the game, that confession that Riley's
That's what I was saying. They don't remove
a
that. They just
breaker.
add the explosives as the catalyst of talking.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking what happens when you leave stuff in from the game.
Yeah, and they left plenty in a lot of the games in the show. I'd argue this is still maybe the most faithful game adaptation ever produced. Would
That's
you
saying
currently say?
something.
Yeah, Would you say that Fallout's probably your current favorite video game adaptation? Because I still need to see that show.
Probably, like, this is really good, but Fallout has the advantage of it's just a story in that world. It's not adapting a game.
Mhm.
And if you can believe it, that show has action sequences.
Yeah, so does this show. We've seen a bunch of them.
Really? I haven't seen one in the last like 3 hours. That was hyper. Okay. I don't know what is up with you and tension. Tension is not action.
They can be the same.
We are on episode 7. The last action sequence was at the end of episode 5.
That's not true. We had a little one at the end of episode 6.
Okay, him falling on a piece of a baseball bat.
That's not what happened. They had a little fight, which I agree could have been longer. I don't need as much action in this as you do. The Last of Us, the gameplay is great, and it's an interactive medium. You need that stuff, but it's the talking scenes are why I love it.
But it's also the world. The world is harsh and cruel, and there's bandits and infected. We scrap most of that.
Kept a lot of it.
Again,
I agree.
For large chunks of this back half, it might as well not even be a zombie show. There's no fucking zombies.
But it's not about the zombies, it's about the people. And we've had a lot of them in this show. I am curious to see if season 2 does structure that stuff a little better, because like I said, the first half of the season,
you know what, Robert,
infected stuff.
You are right. Let's go back to the game and we'll take out all the infected, and it can just be Joel and Ellie on a road trip through America with no zombies, no bandits.
I mean,
there you go.
That's not great, but that's not what this is. We just saw bandits. They're gonna be in the next one. Now you're just being hyperbolic, and it's like, I'm done. You're just being silly.
Like
I said, we
imagine if we had all the Fedra posts that were overtaken, you know, with because people were upset. Like, give me more about the downfall of this world. That's important stuff to how we get here.
Yeah, we got a lot of that in the first half of the season. Like I said, the first half of the show. Like I said, the first half of this show has a lot of those big infected set pieces. Like I said, I am curious if season 2 is going to be structured a little.
If it's anything like this, then they'll fucking cut out the Rat King.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, let me guess. We don't need that.
I mean, it's awesome in the game. I'd like to see it. That's also expensive.
Remember, this is also a horror show. It's not just a drama.
Yeah, it's all of it. And for me personally, I got enough of it. Like, I got the drama, I got the horror, I got some laughs, I got some action. But just based on the trailers for season 2, I mean, it does look like we're getting a whole lot of infected.
I can't wait for the scene where Joel and Abby and Tommy have to work together to fend off the infected, but there's like 5 of them.
That's obviously not happening. Watch the trailers. They're going bigger with that.
I'm going in blind. I'm just joking because it's ridiculous how we can cut out 1/3 of what makes The Last of Us special, which is the infected, and everybody's like, oh, it's fine. It's an adaptation. You don't need zombies in your zombie show.
We got a lot of infected in the first half of the show, man, and I agree. I could have used a couple more runs with them in the back half. I've never said I think this is a perfect show. I really like it, but I prefer the game.
Okay, but then every time I mention something from the game that you could put back in here to give it, you know, some action or some zombies that you agree with me that we need, then you're like, oh, we don't need
it in this episode. Yeah, I don't need it.
And you didn't need it in the last one either. So where are we supposed to put it?
I didn't say that. I never said that. The last episode is the one I thought could have been split in twain.
Except when I pitched a way to get more zombies in there, you're like, I don't need that.
No, what you said was you missed the bandits, and I didn't. I don't
And
need
then
the
I said
bandits in
replace,
Jackson
so
City.
replace them with zombies. She runs off and gets surrounded by clickers.
I still don't. I don't need her running away from the community in the show. That it's paced fine. And
Is this the
this
song from
scene
the
right on.
DLC? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it's the same one. The masks are cool because those are
Those are
obviously
just from the game.
yeah, like they're created for the show and are so spot on. They just took the concept art and brought them to
Yeah.
life. Like that's cool. And yeah, like all this stuff is paced really well. This emotional climax with them. And again, it's the tragedy of like these are two best friends who haven't been fully open with each other and haven't had the courage to tell each other their full feelings, and just when they get to that point is when it's taken from them.
No, like for anybody watching, I do really like this episode. I think you could have done more. Funny how much taller she is than Ellie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful moment. Just them gling, just like it's this last little moment of peace. Now, this is the part of the episode where I'll meet you halfway, where I'm a little torn on it because I think it works. Like, I don't need the horde that's in the game, but I would have been fine with a few infected. I don't know if it needed to be just one. I still think the sequence works fine because what it does
Ironically,
show
this is where
is
I'm fine with it being one because that's at the end of the day. I think they only run it like one or two at a time.
yeah, well, it's you get the horde that's chasing them, but then by the end of that sequence, like it's really just a couple they're dealing with. But what this scene does establish is just how strong and dangerous these things are, and just how easy it is to get killed by them. Because they both
Yeah, it
get
only
bit.
took them 7 episodes.
But 2 episodes ago, Sam and Henry, all that forgot.
Well, you're the one that said that this is where where it's established.
Well, in the context of this being a flashback. Also, if I said established, I apologize. That was not a good word choice. But again, physically,
Okay,
she just totally.
admittedly, that was just me being a dick, but I knew what you meant.
And again, it shatters the illusion of yeah, this is obviously it's been clear in previous episodes, but this is not your zombie
Bella
fantasy wish
kills
fulfillment.
this scene.
These reactions are
Quick,
fantastic.
cut off your hand; it'll be fine.
Yeah. Is that a thing we've done in The Last of Us yet? Like, have we had a character missing a limb? It's like, yeah, I got bit, but amputated and I lived. I don't think we've seen that successfully done.
Which is funny because they use every other trope in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So what, was she just standing there for the last 30 minutes? That's another reason why the format in the game works is because then It doesn't look like she's just standing there awkwardly so that we can get this flashback.
That's not what's going on. You're looking at Sue literally. No, this is making her think of Riley. We, the audience, are. But in real life, when we flash back to things, it's not in chronological order. We understand that this is TV logic. And now we're back here. But
I didn't
again,
say she was literally standing there. I said that's how it looks.
She just did, and it's not. But her looting the house is enough. Searching the place for.
You could then, if you're not going to do them all, you could have at least interspaced her looking for the house. Maybe something triggers another flashback.
Again, the structure in the game works. I think this version works. It's a wraparound. It's a bookend.
Okay, but just because something works doesn't mean that something can't be done better. Like, that format works for a reason. You could have kept that. Even if it's just her searching the house.
It worked in the game, and I think the show... Again, I think this episode is fantastic. This is one of my favorites.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over. But yeah, and, she's remembering this moment where she could have left Riley, but instead chose to stay with her. And again, happens off screen, but just the horrible reality that these two characters both expected to turn. And then, of course, Ellie did it and had to put down her best friend. In both versions of the story, that is a thing that happened. We just don't see it. But yeah, it's really fucked up that the first person Ellie has to put down is Riley.
Yeah, which is why I'm not really shocked that she doesn't have much of a reaction to killing other monsters. So you could have done more of that.
I wasn't talking about the monsters, and we've seen her kill a few infected in the show, but I was saying, like, when she's shooting bandits and stuff, like they're NPCs, like you're not thinking about it. The game isn't always dwelling on the violence as much as the second game is, which, as we talked about before, the season of television is very inspired by the second game and what's coming later.
Stuff is great. Did they win any awards? Because I should have for this episode.
That's a good question. I know.
I'm sure it did for episode 3.
This episode was nominated for some Emmys.
That's good. Thank God that she didn't have to leave the house to find medicine.
Well, she just found the needle and thread.
Thank God that wound didn't get infected.
You could say the same about the game.
In the game, she finds a health kit.
Yeah,
with like alcohol and shit. Okay, and you can't translate that into a medical kit in the show?
It's fine. The important part is that she sews up his wound. And again, I like that we linger on this scene. It's gross. The makeup's great.
You can't have it both ways. Either it follows video game logic or it follows movie logic.
Yeah, she gets lucky. Also, does the med kit have alcohol in the game? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just remember the needle and thread.
Got like the antiseptic pads and shit.
And the music choice here is great. It really nails the vibe of that ending.
I'm glad there was a lot of tension in whether or not Joel's gonna live or die. That's good.
Yeah. If you haven't played the game and you're just watching the show, yeah, you don't know. A lot of people thought at the end of the last episode.
I'm not gonna.
Also, this is a week-to-week show. Like, people thought in the last episode that Joel was dead. People had to sit with that for. You're not looking at it from the point of view of a TV audience who hasn't played.
I'm not, because I don't care about them. I'm looking at it from my point of view.
So when you were playing Left Behind, you're like, oh man, I hope Joel lives. I don't know if Joel's gonna live.
Well, no, because
that DLC played
I played
after the main game.
Okay, but this isn't playing after the rest of the story. If you're gonna put
There's
it,
plenty of tension.
if you're going to put it in the middle of the story, then you could play with Harrison tension. Is he gonna live or die?
They
She's
did.
got to.
You're watching that whole episode thinking in the back of your head, like, is Joel gonna make it or not? You don't know.
Okay.
You don't. It's not until the end of the episode. Man, you are in a mood today.
It's annoying that every time I point out something that they could have done better, you're like, no, it's fine. It's perfect. Don't change anything about this show.
Never said that.
That was episode.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Hang on. Shut up for a minute. For recording purposes, that is the end of our episode 7 commentary. We will be, if you're watching after the fact, thanks so much. And we will check out our episode 8 commentary. Anyway, sorry, it's just if that kept going, it was just going to be more and more painful to out all that.
It's fine. But now I got to skip through all the ads. And
no, that is a great episode. But the
one.
difference between us is just because I think something's good doesn't mean I think it can't be better. You just need to have settled for whatever they've done, whereas I'm looking at what they could do better.
Episode 6 is a perfect example that I think is very good. Also, could have been split into 2 episodes.
Except for every time that I mentioned something, but every time I mention something that you've had a criticism with, then you disagree and say it doesn't need it.
That's not true.
Name one.
The ending, the action scene at the end of episode 6, I think is fine. I also think that could have been expanded on. And I agree that we could have had a couple more run-ins with Infected. You just don't need all of them put back in.
Okay, then where are we going to put the Infected? Because that's then what I don't seem to understand is where are you going to put them?
If we split episode 6 into 2 episodes, you could have had... That's where you could have worked in more Infected after the Jackson stuff. Around, like, the school, around the university.
Oh, so you mean do the stuff that I said anyway that she said didn't need it?
No. And I also said I acknowledge that these are budget restraints. That's a TV show. We can't build every set that's in the game. You have to.
That was already there. Just use it. Or here's a better idea.
We see a room and a lobby.
And you can't do anything with that?
I didn't say that. I said you could have had more action there. I agreed. God, you are so fickle today.
I'm not. It's just every time I suggest something, it's the same. Oh, it's fine.
I think most of it's fine.
Or here's an idea how to balance your budget. Don't do an hour and a half episode. Don't do an hour episode for episode 3. It doesn't have anything else to do with the rest of the show.
That is incorrect. It's thematically very important. These are people.
I'm not talking about thematically. I don't care about thematically.
I get it, John. You don't care about theme. You just care about plot and action scenes. That's all you care about.
Because the theme comes secondary. That comes from the characters and the action. That would episode 3
in the show.
Episode 3 is
episode 3. There was so much Joel and Ellie in that episode.
I surrender. I surrender. But Robert, I've
said over and over again that I don't think the show is perfect. I prefer the game, but I like it a lot. But I have had gripes. I have had nitpicks.
I do have some bad news. I do have to switch discs.
It's fine. This can all be cut out later.
Well, that's why I stopped recording. This will only be for the people who watch this insane live stream. And before anybody gets to commenting, no, I am not attacking Robert. We're having a discussion. It's just a very heated one.
But also, like, look, you said you gave the season like a 7.5 out of 10. For me, it's like an 8.5. Like, we're not that far off.
Yeah. It's just the things that we disagree on, we're very passionate about.
That is true.
Anyway,
this episode might be my favorite. Yeah.
And I don't remember this one, so we'll see how it goes. Which tells me that I probably didn't have strong feelings either way, but we'll see. But Robert, we're going to take a break, take a breather. We'll fight to the death over episode 3 when we get back.
I'd rather not. It's in the past. It's recorded. It's documented.
We're gonna do another commentary.
It's content. This is why I'm glad that Noah wasn't on this. I want him to have his own fresh watch the show. I don't need. He doesn't need us being idiots arguing about it while he's trying to watch the fucking show.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. We're
Hello.
here to do the first of us. I mean, the last of us.
That'll be the prequel game.
Don't give Sony any ideas; they'll probably fucking do it. Robert, what is episode 7 called?
Well, episode 7 was called Left
Episode
Behind.
8.
This
Sorry,
one, episode 8. Episode 8 is called When We Are in Need.
we are in need.
When We Are in Need.
Yeah, it's when we're in need. Why do you keep saying neat?
I said need.
It sounded like you were saying neat.
I said
English,
this.
motherfucker. Do you speak it? Oh, these long ass episode titles. Is this the one that has that pointless flashback with the mom? Is that the next one?
That's the finale, and I like that flashback. That's an expansion I like. That's, again, it's in the game through context clues, and I like that we get to see it in the show.
All right. This is season 1, episode 8. We're almost done, Robert.
We are. This might be my favorite episode.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, play. But yeah, so I watched The Monkey and The Black Bag today.
Oh, how was the black bag? I haven't heard much about it.
You'd love it. There's no action.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
Is it well written?
It's fine. I wasn't in love with it, but like I can see why people are gushing over
That's the new one, right? That was Fassbender and Kate
it.
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, yeah. Fassbender's great.
Cool.
Too bad he never got to play
Yeah.
proper Magneto after Days of Future Past.
Yeah. Those movies really liked. We really like this Magneto retired, trying to be good arc. Let's just
They
do that
do it
over and over again.
twice. And I think it's the same thing that brings him out of retirement for both of them.
Pretty much. Oh, this person I love died. Gotta go evil again.
Is he the one that? No, wait, no, it's Jean that kills Mystique, which might be her greatest contribution to those movies.
And again, some of the cinematography here is just gorgeous. And I like getting to spend more time with David's group and his little cult during this winter.
Okay, so I have a complaint that it's purely just fanboyism. It's not an actual like knock on the show. I really miss Troy Bate or Nolan North's like higher pitched voice for David. This guy's
My
got a
name's
much
David.
lower voice, and it doesn't sound right.
Yeah, if I actually do have something that I prefer in the game over the show, I do prefer Nolan North's performance. I think Nolan North's a little more subtle. Not that this guy's bad. This is Scott Shepard, who, speaking of Dark Phoenix, played Jean Grey's father in that movie
Ah,
for a couple scenes. He
so
was also in El Camino.
this is coming back to me. I remember my big complaint is we take the religious aspect, which isn't very in the front in the game, and it's like
We really lean into that here.
that is his character. He's just a crazy
Mhm.
religious man.
He is, but it's still that classic cult trope of this is a guy who doesn't really believe what he's preaching. He's just using that. Like he's using these people. He's just found a way to
My
manipulate this
problem was
group.
is it was at the time when it was coming out. It felt like that's everything we were doing is religion bad. And
And
again, for
the
some reason, the show just hates subtlety. It has to beat you over the head with everything.
I don't know. Again, I didn't come away with this like, oh, religion bad. It's like, no, he's a cult leader. He's a guy using religion to manipulate these people for his own personal gain. But they do take the time to flesh out like these aren't all evil one-dimensional monsters. It's just a group of struggling people, which is why I find the dichotomy with him and James, Troy Baker's character, interesting. Where James here like is a believer or has found his faith through this guy and like really believes in him. And doesn't see how much he's being used. I do like their scenes together a lot. And I think Troy Baker's really good. He is giving a very subtle performance. Like there's a lot going on behind his eyes that they don't push at the forefront. And I think really works.
Okay, so I just thought of this. Does it sound like he's kind of doing his Joel voice a little bit?
Well, but more higher pitched. Like he's doing the accent, I think, but it is a more higher pitched version of it.
Yeah, I can hear his Joel, and it's not bad, just distracting.
Yeah, I'm glad. And again, this is a thing we used to never do in these kinds of adaptations. Like, letting the people involved in the thing we adapted get to participate.
Not
I
true. They did it in Uncharted. Nolan North talks about how he fell out of an airplane once.
but
Uh,
I like that it's not
so
just a cameo though. I think this is a real role.
the guy that plays David was in everybody's favorite Bourne movie, Jason Bourne.
Oh, did
Uh,
people like that more than Born Legacy? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
That is like a really popular trilogy that people seemed into, and it had
I
two other movies.
I really loved those movies when I was younger, which is funny because I've also read the books.
And they're very different, I've heard.
Yeah, no, in the books he's like 50. Those are like espionage books. The movies are action movies. But the books are also weird because that they kind of have the same thing. Like the guy wrote that trilogy and then died, and other people just kept writing Bourne
Oh,
books.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Because I heard the last two were like very loosely based on those books that came later. I think.
probably. I haven't seen the. For reference, a brand new Bourne book came out in 2023.
Oh my god, who's reading that?
And what's funny is when you go to the Wikipedia page for Jason Bourne, there's eras. Robert Ludlum, which was the original three, and then this guy Eric Van Lustbader wrote them from 2004 to 2017, and now we've got Brian Freeman who's been writing them since 2020. And what's funny
Good for
too
them.
is I think this might be a movie thing because those books came out in the 90s or the 80s to the 90s, and then there's a break, and then the Bourne Legacy comes out, which isn't that the name of the fourth movie?
Yeah, the fourth movie is Born
So
Legacy.
maybe
So that's
that's
the
what
Jeremy
they're
Renner
doing
one.
there. That one doesn't come out to 2004. So they just resurrected this and just gave it to people to write books about. Oh, I would like to go back to those, though. I haven't seen them in years.
I've never seen them. It sounds like I should stop at the third one.
I'm curious about the fifth one because that is, the big comeback for
This is
Matt
my
Damon.
And it was the same director, right? The director came back for that. Who did
Probably
the
because I
like
was
2 and
just
3.
reading the reason that he didn't come back for 4 is it's a different director.
Hmm.
Yes, it's Paul Greengrass.
The fourth one's just funny because they invent this brand new character for Jeremy Renner to play to take over the reins of the franchise. But I've heard that they keep showing Matt Damon's photo. It's like, see, there's Jason Bourne. He's in the picture. He's in a stock photo.
I have also heard
just
that fifth one. I've also heard that fifth one has like little to no dialogue. It's all just action.
Oh, weird.
I don't know what you do with a fifth one because the whole point of those trilogy was he doesn't remember who he is. It is a trilogy about finding yourself. He found himself in the third one. Screw you. This is unrealistic. She had the bow and arrow. 0 out of 10 episode. I won't stand for this bow erasure.
This is your favorite part of the game when you're walking around the snow for an hour trying to shoot this deer. I also think the Troy Baker, I think they did a great job with his makeup, making him look very gaunt. He doesn't stick out like.
Oh, and I would like to point out for all the people complaining about her casting, she is approved by Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson.
Ashley Johnson. Yeah.
I think they might know more than you about the character.
Before we even saw a trailer, Ashley Johnson said, "Oh, Bella's great. Bella's perfect. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled with this." Even if you disagree, like, you should be happy for Ashley, I think. But I like how Bella plays this scene where Bella's like trying to speak in a deep voice and it just makes her sound younger. It's that Spider-Man Homecoming scene where it's like, "I'm a man. I'm threatening."
That one's even funnier though because it's not like
The
voice
modulation.
modulator.
I'm not a boy. I'm a man.
Okay, I'm gonna be a spoiler sport, but you know what I hate about that scene?
What?
That scene just exists to confirm Miles exists in that fucking universe. Because we can't tell Peter Parker stories anymore. Miles has to be there somewhere. Wouldn't it be crazy if we just told like a hear me out, Peter Parker story without Miles anywhere referenced or
We got that in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I do have to watch that.
It's pretty good. It's the
But the problem with that is
it's everything outside of
the Spider-Verse stuff.
Kind of, not really.
Or not Spider-Verse, multiverse.
Kind of, not really. I don't know if you want me to spoil it or not.
I'll probably watch it this weekend.
Okay. What they do is still dumb, but thankfully there's not as much multiverse stuff as you might expect.
Okay. Thank God for small favors. I still got to watch the last 2 episodes of Daredevil.
Oh, okay.
I'm nervous about 7 because I've heard apparently that's the breaking point for some people.
Yeah, I didn't have that, but I did think it was a step down from 6. I was like, yeah, it's all right.
My thing is, it's 7 of 9. I might as well finish it.
That's a Star Trek character, John.
Yeah.
But right, I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm going to see this thing to the end.
We're in the end game now, Robert.
We are. But yeah, 7's a step down. My biggest frustration with Daredevil Born Again is, even that show at its best, it feels very first draft. It's like, yeah, these are good ideas, these are good pieces, but you didn't flesh them out. It's not like an organic escalation.
I mean, that's all of Phase 4 so far. Phase 5.
That's all of Phase 4. But especially like with the Muse stuff, there's not like a proper build up or escalation of that. It's just we're doing Muse now, okay. And it's pretty cool until it's not.
What are you showing me here now? Good.
And again, I do prefer this scene in the game just because I do prefer Nolan North's performance, but I still think these two work well together. They get kind of the it starts kind of light, and then we'll have that
Yeah,
shift in tone.
this David just doesn't have that creep factor, for lack of a better term. Like
He
when
does.
you
He
meet
does at
David
the
in the
end.
game, when you meet David in the game, you can immediately tell something's wrong with this guy, but you don't know what. You know what? You know what he is, Robert. He is what people think a Stephen King religious villain is, without some of the complexity.
Yeah, I didn't have that. Like, I don't see this guy. I also can't compare because I haven't read those books. I can only go off of their adaptation
Well, like
versions.
I'm thinking of
Like,
like Randall Flagg in The Stand that we watched. This is a less
mhm,
charismatic version of that guy, where he's like luring people in and with their beliefs and
mhm,
like their wants.
yeah. Well, when I think of like the Stephen King religious nut, and you actually haven't watched this movie, we might watch it next week. Like Maximum Overdrive has like an asshole preacher hypocrite
Oh, I
character.
can't wait.
That's what I think of as the stock Stephen King religious nut. This
I
guy
figured you would
is
go to
more of
Carrie's
a
mom.
yeah. Carrie's mom's like the big one, but I should read that book finally.
You should. Maximum Overdrive is on Tubi.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for those who don't know, next Friday we're going to either do a commentary on Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive or Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, depending on if our buddy Noah will join us or not. So we'll do one of those next Friday.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Cool. And then the week after that will be Manhunter and Red Dragon.
Maximum Overdrive would be easier because that one is on Tubi. Everyone's favorite streaming service, folks.
Yeah.
No, I
They
mean I
do.
unironically love Tubi. Tubi, if you want to sponsor me, I will. I will throw all the good words at you.
Yeah. No, Troy Baker, put down the gun. Don't do it. And this is where I think again the stunt casting with Troy Baker is just really fun. How James is like such a nothing NPC character in the game,
You
and
do it.
he's a bit more he's a bit more 3 dimensional because it's Troy Baker and we spend more
This
time with him.
is the stuff that they changed that works, where it's just taking what's already there and fleshing it out, but not
Hmm.
at the expense of something else.
Well, that's what I had with the Jackson stuff. I like that we spend more time there and flesh out some of those conversations. But this sticks very close to the game, and I think works. And this is again where we're cutting gameplay, and I think it's fine because in the game, David and Ellie sit down, have this conversation. It's interrupted by infected. They have that whole action sequence, and then they come back to the exact same place and resume their conversation. It works in the game. It's fun stuff, but the show having that whole conversation play out over the course of one scene, I think totally works. I don't miss anything.
I do miss Infected in this Infected show.
We got plenty earlier. This is the big episode where I'm like, yeah, I just don't miss the infected. I don't think they're necessary here. There's enough tension with David. And I mean, we're what, like 16 minutes
I mean, at this point, I don't know what they're hiding from. There ain't no damn Infected around. That'd be like going to see Dawn of the Dead and there ain't no damn zombies.
We've seen a lot of infected in this show, John. I agree that we could have seen more in the back half. Just this episode, I'm not missing them. There's nothing other stuff going on.
And there weren't any in episode 6. 7 doesn't count because the only one we see is a flashback.
Yeah, it's still something. They're still talked about in 6 at least.
Well, golly, I can talk about wolves. It doesn't mean there's any in my backyard.
Okay. I'm gonna quote you on that, John. 2025. Just no context.
What is the prime rule that we always talk about? Show, don't tell. Don't talk to me about infected. Show me the goddamn things.
We showed a lot of them.
Yeah, for all I know, they're still back in what was it, Kansas? Or they list
City?
they stay someplace specific. Wherever they were with Henry and Sam.
I think in the show, I think it was Kansas City.
And unless they change locations, they should be in Oregon right about now.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm to take this show on its word, there's just no infected in fucking Oregon.
That's not what they said. This I like this scene. I like fleshing out these people, and but this is a classic zombie trope. It's the cannibal episode. No, you gotta get that. What's that meat? Venison. Yeah, sure.
To be fair,
And
I think it is actually venison because she gave them the deer.
Yeah, in this case, I think it is. Yeah, but the other guy who died, yeah, that totally ate. Unless no, it is the guy because we're gonna see them with the deer in a second.
Oh, okay.
I just forgot. So yeah, no, they're eating their dead friend, but most of them
They're gonna eat me, or they're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me. Oh my god!
God. No, but the way he plays David in this scene's great though, where he comes in like, "Hey guys, we got a deer, yay!" And the people in the back are like, "I thought we had a fucking deer." It's like what? So I do think this community is very believable, where they're not all in on it. Like David has his specific incitement. It's very Midnight Mass, right? With Father Paul and Crazy Lady, like they have their inner circle, but most of the community doesn't really know what's going on because they can't trust everybody with the truth. Oh, damn.
Okay, just go down to the convenience store down the street and get some medicine. I think the problem with this take on David is I'm supposed to believe he's his cult leader, but he's like negative 100 charisma.
I do
Like,
think he sells this
compare it
faux
to like Midnight
preacher
Mass.
personality.
That preacher has charisma. Like you see why those people are following him. I think that's the biggest frustration with this show is it wants to tell me a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't want to show it.
I think it does both. There's still plenty of visual storytelling here.
Really? So why aren't they going out to find supplies?
Because of the cold.
They got coats.
In the middle of a blizzard, John. I do like this scene, this prayer, this Last Supper situation, and there's something here that Troy Baker improvised that he actually got in an argument with the director, where in the scene is scripted like they all eat they all eat the meat. Some people very hungrily, other people kind of slowly, and he resists. That it
What
again.
a silly thing to argue about.
Yeah.
Yo, you got stabbed with a baseball bat. Come on. Wake up.
Wake up.
Your video game version fell off a platform and got impaled by a pipe. Don't be a bitch.
Ew, what are you showing me? Come on.
How much penicillin was in that bag?
I think just a couple doses.
Okay, the blizzard's gone. They can go get supplies now. They don't need to rely on David.
Easier said than done, sir.
Why? There's nothing dangerous out there.
We're 20 years into an apocalypse.
It's fine. You can find
Can't just go to
perishables.
war.
I don't know. There's nothing dangerous out there. They can go look.
Caw.
Keep going. Anything to worry about?
It's like the game. There's no infected in this area either. I do like this little action scene coming up. It's cool. It's cool that Troy Baker gets a little action moment. And then it's just nice to see him here. And I'm a sucker for a good kind of religious debate scene where Troy Baker's character James is very like, let's let this go. Maybe it's God's will that she'll die. You know, but David has this, as we'll see, weird fascination with her.
Yeah, I think it also goes further into the like.
The demonetized subject
Yeah.
matter, the YouTube unfriendly subject matter. Yeah, they really lean into that at the end, and it's creepy.
Yeah, I didn't need that. Just make him a weird cannibal.
It's there in the game. They don't go too much further with it.
But again, that's the thing. We can't be subtle with anything.
Yeah,
it has to be in the
there
forefront
in the game.
Right, but it's subtle. Meanwhile, the leisurely horseback ride.
Well, John, she's trying to be seen because she wants to distract them, get them away from.
No, that was just a joke. At least she's doing. Yeah, she's doing something. It's not like there's any infected to be scared of.
Like I said, it's funny because he's a bad guy and he's about to do a very bad guy thing, but I like that Troy Baker gets this little action bit. And he's got one shot. He's got to make it count. Oh, faceplant.
If you remember in the game, the condominiums that she goes to hide are full of infected. So say it with me, there'd be another chance to show infected.
Not in the area where Joel is, because the bandits run her out of that town into a different area where you then run into infected.
That's what I just said. The condominiums where she runs to are full of infected.
I misheard you. Okay. Yeah, but we don't need that here. No, this totally works. Like, he shoots the horse, she gets knocked out. Like, and then I really like the way they play the scene where James Troy Baker here is considering killing her and shooting her.
Okay,
and
then what are they doing here? Because there's no point in hiding. There's no infected anywhere. They haven't seen an infected in like 300 miles. That's an exaggeration number, but you get my point.
You were really stuck on it.
Yeah, it's a zombie show. I want zombies.
I thought it. I thought they were infected. I thought you had this whole thing about
Okay,
zombies versus
it's an
infected.
infected show. I want the infected.
Yeah. No, I think this scene's great. It's a little different from the game version, but the same point comes across. The horse gets killed. The bandits are trying to kill her. David gets her. It's
Yeah, that's
plot
this
wise the
entire
same stuff's
show.
happening.
It's kind of like the game, just not as cool.
No, I think the scene's great. And then these guys are gonna stay behind because they're looking for Joel.
Guess what they're not going to run into?
Yep.
Because apparently the infected stop at Kansas.
I agree that more infected could show up in the back half. I'm just
But every
not
time
missing
I
them
bring
here.
up where to put them, you're like, no, don't do that.
I never saw that. Like, if you had one or two show up here, sure, that's fine. I'm just not missing them like you are. That's all.
Because that's part of the world. If this is a post-apocalyptic world, where are the things that made it a post-apocalyptic world? If there's no infected around, then there should be no reason for them to be in these settlements because apparently they don't have anything to worry about. And just talking about them is not enough.
We saw a bunch out in the open in episode 2.
In Kansas. In Kansas.
And
we're not in. Yeah. On the other side of the country. That would be like.
Get it, John. Oh my god. Is there anything else you want to talk about? I get it. You've made it over and over again.
There's no, I mean, nothing else is happening right now. Well,
what do you mean nothing's happening? They're looking for Joel. This is a tense sequence.
Anything to say about this? It's a fine sequence.
Yeah, like, okay, the gunfire could have drawn some infected to this area. We could have had these guys fight a couple.
Oh, wait.
Fine.
I lied. Because I think this is the big scene when they announced the show. It's like, it better be in here, I'm going to be pissed. And they did it. So I think this is the interrogation scene.
That's coming up. Not this guy. And I think the guy we're looking at is actually the director, if I'm not mistaken. But we get a shiv in the neck. That's fun.
It's great, yeah.
But I like that this first kill is Joel still very out of it.
Yeah. No, because that is something in the game that's kind of funny. Because, like, at first, he's just kind of hurt. And he's, like, limping.
He's limping.
And then he's fine.
Once they start shooting at you, he's like, oh. Like, you see his health bar go up.
Adrenaline's a hell of a drug. Oh, that's a creepy face.
Look at that face. Oh, all the blood coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And
Joel's like, here's the stealth kill.
Yeah. That's a good little stealth kill you get.
That'd be cool to see more of. Glad we got it, but show me that guy's face.
Joel's like, I'm getting too old for this shit.
When are they going to cast Pedro Pascal in a remake of Lethal Weapon?
Which one? Which guy do they have him play?
Well, it's obvious. He's getting too old for this shit. He's going to play Danny Glover's character. I don't remember which one is which. Just Danny Glover's character. It's not Murtaugh, right? That's Mel Gibson.
I don't remember which name each one has.
I'm afraid of you, but I came to find you. Okay. No, that is not a complaint. That's just funny logic.
No, this is some of the best stuff with Ellie in the game, and Bella totally knocks it out of the park. Like, when people now, or season 2, are still complaining about Bella, I'm like, okay, did you watch the show? Like, you just decided
that their complaints are all superficial. It's all because of that one poster. Yeah, she doesn't have the face for that kind of poster. Whoop-dee.
Yeah, Bella doesn't look like game Ellie, okay? I think the performance is what matters more.
I do have some reservations about her having to do the, like, physical stuff, but I'm open to it.
Yeah. Hey Phil, did you find that other guy yet?
That dude's beard is magnificent.
It's wonderful. Can't fake that.
Okay, so this isn't a complaint, but I just thought of this. It would have been awesome if Troy Baker's character was the one that got to do the interrogation scene, just on like a
That
fanboy
could be
level.
cool. Well, before the show came out, there were those rumors that Troy was actually playing David. I don't know if you
That
ever
would have
saw
been.
that.
I did not. That would have been interesting.
That would have been interesting. I think it was like leaks too, but like clearly somebody just got confused or got their
The
information wrong.
Last of Us leaks being confused. No.
Right. So yeah, obviously Troy Baker is not David. He's actually James, and yeah, that would have been cool. And I was kind
Oh
of hyped for that because that scene's wonderful. You know, but
no, this
that's such a
seems.
juicy.
Because I think we
That's
talked
such
about
a.
it in the game. Like this is one of my favorite scenes in the game. The
It's
interrogation.
great. Yeah, and I get it. People watching the show are like, we haven't seen a lot of that violent Joel yet, and you get it here. It's awesome. But
Do you think this is Mr. Fantastic's origin story?
absolutely. A resort? You're at a fucking resort. Ugh. There is something about seeing this performed, like, in live action that makes it,
Worse.
ugh. Yeah, where it's like the guy getting the knife shoved in his mouth. Like that's for real, and you're like, ugh, I don't like that. You better point it to the same place your buddy does. Ugh, like that knife in the chest. I believe him. He got
Perfect.
Negan'd.
Robert, stay with me. That was perfect.
I think this is a really well paced episode.
I'm sorry. That looks disgusting.
It's the best they can do.
What is it covered in?
I don't know.
Looks like blood.
It's deer blood.
Do you often
It adds
serve
to
your
the
meat with
flavor.
deer blood?
I don't know. You're the cook.
Oh, are you not a cook? Like you don't like to cook?
No, yeah, I'm not a cook guy. I don't have the skill for it.
You Krispy Kreme motherfucker.
Ellie
I
knows how
will
to
say
place a
if there's one
judge.
thing if there's one thing that's unfortunate is that the Telltale version of this came out before the game version. I think Telltale does this a little bit better.
I agree. Yeah, because that's a twist. Like that's a big reveal. And The Last of Us, it's almost obligatory. It's like, they're cannibals because we got to do the cannibal thing. It doesn't add a
Yeah.
whole lot to
It's
it.
like, oh, these already awful people are cannibals. Who
Yeah,
could have imagined? Whereas in like The Walking Dead, it's like, oh, these really nice people. Oh God,
yeah.
what are they doing?
That's such a good chapter in that game.
Oh,
That ending's
we
wonderful.
got to do episode. We got to do episode 3 or season 3 of that soon. I don't want to start it yet because Days Gone Remastered comes out at the end of this month, and I want to play that.
Mm. And we have 5 Resident Evil games to play because we're a Resident Evil channel now.
Yeah.
Hi, Jareth.
Resident
He says he
Evil.
likes to cook.
Hell yeah.
You like to cook crystal meth, Jareth? That's what John was talking
Robert, we have to
about.
cook. How dare you mention that mid show on this channel?
It's a wonderful show with a lot
Gareth,
of monologues.
you missed all the fighting. By fighting, I mean me and Robert. I think Robert was going to kill me a few minutes ago.
I do like this exchange a lot, where David talks about Ellie's violent heart
Mm-hmm.
and that he shares it too, and it's like, no, we're connected. Like, we're the same. It's the classic villain speech. We're the same. This is an expansion that's interesting, that I like how he compares himself to the cordyceps, where he's like, they're not evil. That's just a living organism. They do what they do,
Remind me
but
real
him
quick.
justifying his. Oh, go on.
Does it actually call them cordyceps in the game?
Yes,
I couldn't
that
remember if
comes
that
up a
off the
lot.
head if that was like a fan thing or because I just remember them calling bloaters, clickers,
Mhm.
runners.
And I like that line in the game when the other guys are like looking for Joel and Ellie, and they're like, I don't know, man, it's David's newest pet or something, where that tells you, oh, he's done this before.
Did I ask her to team up? Huh?
That yeah, we're watching a team-up scene. This is when Ellie and David
Oh,
come
right,
back to
because
our
this. Oh,
like,
somebody's written that fan fiction.
yep. Oh my god, yeah, there is definitely an Ellie David ship out there somewhere because the internet
Uh,
sucks.
I mean, I know for a fact, and don't ask me how I know because I wish I didn't know. That Hermione and Bellatrix is a popular one.
Ugh. What's worse? I mean, I think Hermione and Voldemort's probably worse, and that's
No,
also a thing.
that is the worst one.
Or
I
Hermione and Snape.
I can't say what that is on camera.
Just go on Rule 34, search this stuff. You'll
No,
find.
no, no, wait.
This is this scene's perfect.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, my finger. This is as
Uh,
good. Oh, fuck.
I still have that thing where this guy is just not. He needs to be a little more amped.
Mm.
He sounds mildly inconvenienced by the fact that his hand just got broken.
Ellie, the way Bella delivers this line is just perfect.
Robert, I was told she was bad for this role.
Yeah, this is gonna be blasphemy, but as good as Ashley is in that scene in the game, this is a scene I might prefer in the show, just because of Bella's
Okay,
performance.
commentary's done. We're done.
Shut up. That's the scene where I'm like, oh, this is gonna work going into season 2, where I know Bella can nail
I
like
thought you
that
were going to
darker
say
side of
this
Ellie.
show is like it took you until episode eight.
Take me episode 8, yeah. No, it's just because that's the scene where Bella goes to such a primal, like raw, visceral place. Like, it's Ellie's little girl broke your fucking finger. It's just face is covered in blood. It's awesome.
Yeah, he's Jareth clarifies because I forgot about the speech that you made. I mean, like the Green Goblin randomly wants to team up with Spider-Man now too.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
Yeah, but our brains went to the wrong place because of course they did.
Jareth, you're saying you don't ship Spider-Man and Green Goblin in that movie? I'm sure some people do.
Somebody does.
I like that Ellie's backpack is replicated just perfectly from the game. Like they have the same little trinkets and stuff on it.
And I'd say that's the worst Spider-Man thing I've seen, but because of Austin, I know that like Spider-Man and Tony Stark in the MCU are a thing.
Oh god. Don't say that.
I think it was Austin.
I mean, of course it is, but somebody was really upset when they saw Endgame and for all the wrong reasons. Ew,
He just have like the worst security. He got into that building without a single fight.
Yeah, he just killed David's 3 best guys.
True.
It is cool that Troy Baker got to do this scene. Oh god, Bella's really
no.
This moment. I remember Troy talking about like what a pain in the ass this was to film, and just the hours and hours of just the makeup, like all the fake blood he had to deal with, and how cold it was.
So this is the question I have in the game too. This is obviously verbatim in the game. Is she bluffing when she says he's infected?
I think she's bluffing.
Okay. Because I feel like they're not consistent. Because she can like kiss Dina and like make out with her, and she's not infected, but a bite.
That tells me oh, sorry, Troy. Yeah, I think she's just bluffing, but she also doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair. Sorry, Troy. That's a change that I love. Where remember in the game, David has like a machete in the sequence. Here, Bella uses
that meat cleaver.
That meat cleaver to kill James, and then David just rips it out of his neck to go kill. Like that's a great change. Sorry, Troy Baker. It was nice to see you.
Is it a great change? I don't know. It's just a change. I don't feel one way or the other.
It just shows how. No, it's just so cold. Like he just rips it out of his neck and doesn't give him a second thought.
No, it's not cold. And the building's on fire.
And to be fair to a thing we were talking about earlier, I think a lot of David's dialogue here is in the game. You just might miss it because he says a lot of things, different things in the sequence, so you just might not catch all of it. That's straight out of the game. I know you're not infected. No one infected fights this hard to stay alive. I remember that. I remember hearing Nolan North say that.
Yeah.
That's a cool shot. Fire in the background. But to a point you were making a minute ago, I remember that is one of Ellie. I think that's one of her journal entries in the second game. Is she talks about her kiss with her first girlfriend? I think it's Ken, where she's like freaking out, like, "Oh God, did I infect her?" Like, I don't know. Like, she's very hesitant to like kiss and make out with other people because she doesn't know if that'll spread or not. It's something she's really paranoid about.
I forgot about that.
And of course, when she kissed Riley earlier, Riley got bitten 5 minutes after and then died. So yeah, I think she is bluffing, but also doesn't like completely know. And you're also right. If in the show or in another game they did establish that Ellie could like bite and infect people, that probably wouldn't make sense. That would feel like a retcon.
Dina's fucked.
All right. Yeah, and this scene is just paced so well. Oh God, so brutal. And her scream there, like God, it's just so visceral.
Yeah, he's kind of acting circles around this guy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no fear in love.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
that line
no.
is from the game. Yeah. And oh god, the scene's just amazing.
Very
Like,
good.
fuck him up, Ellie. And the choice that she makes that I love is she'll like pause for a second and then go back to doing it. It's awesome. I think he's dead,
Ellie,
but I'm not
the
sure.
room is on fire.
It's like, well, what a day. And Pedro, I think, is just wonderful in this scene. And Ellie does have the same line here she has in the game where she says he was gonna, and
Yeah, but I
can't
always read
finish
that
it.
in the game as he was going to kill me.
I always read it as the other way. But yeah, it's either's fucked up. But the way Bella just like trails off is just like blah, 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 like it just turns into mumbling. It's very effective and believable. And Joel giving her his coat's a great choice.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that was a day. Let's get out of here. And I love in
And
both
then
versions
suddenly
when
a
it
clicker
hits you.
attacks.
I like that in both versions, though, the fate of David's group is completely ambiguous. You just know that they're fucked.
Fine.
Yeah, I love that episode.
We've only got one more.
We're almost done.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I like this episode.
Robert, what is the episode of episode 9?
Episode 9 is titled Look for the Light.
Was it the pilot, like when you're lost in the dark or something?
Yep, the first episode is When You're Lost in the Darkness. And this final episode is Look for the Light.
That's fun.
So we've talked about this with other shows. Do you? I assume you prefer the because you're watching this on your 4Ks. Your versions don't include the recaps, right? It just starts the episode. Because when you watch it on streaming, you have the option to skip them or not. But I like that on the Blu-rays. They didn't. You don't need
Yeah.
them on the Blu-rays.
No.
That's fine. What was the show? There was something we watched recently where the recaps were part of the episode. Was Ash vs. Evil Dead? Do those include the
Yes.
recaps?
I think it was those. And then Alan Wake is
Alan Wake,
does the
okay.
episodic format where it's like previously on Alan Wake, and it's just what you've already done. All right. This is season 1, episode 9. This is the season finale in 3.
Wait. I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet.
Wait.
It played the recap and I couldn't skip it, so I was just waiting for it to go through, but it was like a 10-minute recap.
Robert went full Punisher. No, wait.
No, wait. Hey, just give me one more second.
No.
And then fucking HBO has to buffer. It's okay, baby.
But you have a Blu-ray.
It's all the way over there. It's behind me.
You Krispy Kreme motherfucker.
We got one more episode left. It's fine. All right, I'm ready.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, play. And the nice thing about this 4K is it does not just HDR but Dolby Vision, which is
cool.
the best version of that you can get at the moment as far as I'm aware.
Jareth said it's like poetry. It rhymes. Very true.
Now for the flashback that takes more time away from Joel and Ellie.
I don't think it takes away from anything. I like this flashback a lot. I love that Ashley Johnson's playing Ellie's mom. That's perfect casting. I think she's great in this sequence.
There's nothing technically wrong with this flashback, but again, you're cutting stuff from the game to make room for this stuff that isn't about Joel and Ellie, which is what I'm here for.
I mean, this is Ellie's mom. It's very much about Ellie and Marlene, because Marlene's going to be an important part of this episode. Just saying. And this is all information that's in the game. It's just optional world building stuff, like that note you can find in Ellie's backpack that's written by her mom, where you get a lot of context clues about like saying goodbye and I don't have much time with you. Marlene's gonna watch over you. Like, this is all information that's in the game. I like that we get it through a flashback. And Ellie's knife, and we're also paying off that in the first episode we saw that Ellie's very attached to that knife, and it because the knife belonged to her mom, and we pay that off here. And I know that this is a story. I remember way before Last of Us 2 came out, there were like rumors and speculation. Do you remember like the Abby theory? Like, people thought that that was going to be Ellie's mom at one point.
So I didn't know that it was Abby that people were speculating, but I remember when that second trailer came out, it has that scene where they're hanging, like they're hanging people, and I think it was maybe it was Abby.
That's
but I didn't watch the trailer because I was already sold. But I remember hearing like, "Oh, is that going to be Ellie's mom?" This whole show is on Jar Jar. He doesn't. It won't work if he doesn't. It won't work.
Ew, newborn babies are gross.
They really are. That might be the easiest birth in cinematic history.
I mean, sometimes they're quick. And this was a high stakes situation. It really just popped out of there. And there's the window again. Man, I think Ashley Johnson's just wonderful in this scene. I think she really nails.
She's amazing. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just this was optional in the game for a reason. You don't need it.
It is a story, though, they were kicking around for a while, like as DLC or something. It's something they always wanted to do that they just could never fit in. And I like that we get in this show. I think it's a nice expansion. Yeah, you tell him, Ellie. And that baby's like, shut up. I want a bed. But I think she really sells like the sadness. Like she's so happy that her baby was born and is fine, but also that realization that she was just bit. Just all that pain and emotion, I think you just see on her face. So that's interesting, Jareth. Talking about Ashley Johnson, Jareth Gerhardt said that she was in a show called Blind Spot. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard of Blind Spot. And she's the. Oh, sorry, go on.
So that is a procedural. Funny enough, that was on ABC.
How old is that?
Not that old. It's post Avengers because the main lead is Sif from the Avengers movies or Thor.
Oh, interesting.
It's that show where she wakes up in like a body bag in the middle of New York, covered in tattoos, And the gimmick is
Oh,
that each
okay.
tattoo is like a crime that they can solve.
Interesting. I remember the advertising for that, but I never watched it.
Ashley Johnson is like the computer lady, because of course she is.
Interesting. Oh, cool. I didn't
That
know
show
that.
was
And
alright.
of course, yeah, I never watched it. Sounds interesting. I love Ashley Johnson. And of course, Jareth mentioned that she was the waitress Cap saved in the first Avengers, which is true. And also, they cut some of her scenes. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
She originally had a bigger part in that movie. That's why in the movie it's like, why do we keep cutting to this waitress lady? Like, okay, and then no, there's a whole scene with her and Cap that they cut out.
But nobody has mentioned her my favorite role of hers other than Ellie. She is older Gwen Tennyson in the Ben 10 franchise.
Oh, cool.
Or
I didn't
Teen
know that.
Gwen, I should say, once they get that. And Ben is Yuri Lowenthal, who everybody now knows as Spider Man.
Oh, there you
So you
go.
get Spider Man and Ellie in a game together, in a show together. And they're
Well,
cousins.
don't tell Austin that.
I don't think he doesn't like Ben 10 for some reason.
Yeah. Well, he
Because
also hates Yuri Lowenthal's Spider-Man,
I don't get
which
it.
I don't get. Sorry, Austin. I just don't see where you're coming from on that one. Yeah, the first thing I know Ashley Johnson from is she was the voice of Terra in the Teen Titans cartoon from the early 2000s, which is a wonderful, heartbreaking performance.
Which is right. When does that show end? 2006. So that is like just 2 years before she takes on Gwen Tennyson in Ben 10.
Yeah, interesting.
Which I highly recommend if you're into sci-fi or superheroes. It's a wonderful blend of both.
Yeah, I saw a couple episodes. I had a cousin who was really into it. Like, it looked cool. It was just something that kind of missed me for whatever reason.
That is a show for me that gets better once you get to Alien Force and Omniverse, or Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, where they're older. Because for better or worse, it is kind of a really well written 10-year-old to the point that they're irritating like 10-year-olds.
What I really like about this scene too is how it mirrors the ending, having Ellie's mom tell a lie here. And lies are a really major theme in The Last of Us, and specifically the lies that parents tell to protect their children. Where Anna just told Marlene, like, I was bitten after she was born. She's fine," which of course we know is a lie. But I think these actresses really, and this is good backstory stuff for Marlene. I like that we flesh her out a little more. And it sets up Marlene, even though she doesn't like making these choices, she is willing to go there. Like, her best friend is begging her to put her down and kill her. She hesitates for a minute, but she will go through with it.
Although, I guess the first thing I see her in, and I didn't know it was her, is the Jumanji animated show, because I have seen episodes of that when I was a kid. She plays Peter Shepard.
He does. Yeah, I missed that show growing up, even though I'm a big fan of the Jumanji movie. And then a couple of years ago,
I appreciate that you specifically said the Jumanji movie, not the Jumanji movies. Because now we've got like 5 of them.
For the kids watching who don't know, Jumanji was a singular film for a good 20 years. And then there are 2 timelines. There's the pre-Jumanji franchise and the post-Jumanji franchise.
We truly live in the darkest timeline.
So yeah, I love that movie when I was a kid. And then I rewatched it on Blu-ray a couple years ago. On the Blu-ray, they had a couple episodes. Like, the first couple episodes is a bonus feature. I was like, I'll watch this. The voice of Patrick from SpongeBob, and of course, The Stand, which we talked about recently, is the Robin Williams character.
That's good. That movie on 4K. I should check and see if it has that.
Oh, nice.
Because I got the exclusive Best Buy Steelbook. I don't know where it's at the moment. I think it's awesome.
Does it look like the board?
I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah.
That, I'm all over the place talking to Jumanji. Yeah, if I made a list of like top 5 movie props I want to own,
that fucking board
is so fucking cool.
It's awesome.
I know there's replicas, but I don't care. They probably made like 200 of them for that movie. I just want one.
So I had the official board game when it came out,
Ah, I had a friend
and
who had that.
it was fun.
Yeah. Okay, let's check out this cover art. Oh, that looks perfect. I want it. Give it to me. Oh, I'm so jealous. Oh, I love this edition. This is from the game, like Ellie kind of zoning out, not listening to him. But we do a callback to the Chef Boyardee thing, which is fun. He's like, "Hey Ellie, I found some Chef Boyardee and Boggle," and I have that exact edition of Boggle from like 2002 or something. That's great.
That's amazing.
Uh, and okay, so to finish my Jumanji story, so I watched a couple episodes of that show a couple years ago, completely blind. I just knew that the voice of Patrick was the Robin Williams character, and then when Peter comes on screen and starts talking, remember 1997 or 1998, when Peter starts talking, I'm like, is that Ashley Johnson? I was so blindsided by that. One of her first voice acting gigs was the little boy in
No, all I
Jumanji.
really remember at this point is the art style is really bad.
It's weird. It's like that cheaper Nickelodeon art style. You know what I mean? It's like that Rocco's Modern Life vibe, but the cheaper version of that
uh,
90s Nickelodeon style.
Did you like the other stuff that was coming out, like Men in Black? I think that animated series looks really good. The Mask animated series looked all right.
The 90s. I mean, it started in the 80s, but the 90s were just full of like all these cartoon tie-ins to popular movies. We don't do that as much anymore, unless it's like a bigger, pre-established nostalgic franchise.
The only one that I've seen recently we did was Kung Fu Panda, and the only thing people talk about
Oh
that is
yeah,
the monkey.
Monkey.
They did the Two Face shot, Robert,
It's awesome.
and that kind of looks like the Batman Forever Two Face.
These are some other early set photos I remember seeing, shooting
Oh,
on
okay, I
location
don't remember
somewhere,
this.
seeing them in these outfits.
No, go into the subway.
We can't afford that. That'll be expensive.
I mean, if you can't afford it, then you're not doing your job right. Like,
Well, okay, so the flooding sequence when Ellie almost drowns, like that's a great sequence of the game, and that would just be expensive as fuck in the show. Again, I prefer the game version. The
just
show,
I don't understand how we can live in a world where you can adapt something and then decide, oh, we can't actually afford to adapt it.
this is a really expensive show, and I think they did a damn good job. I'm just pointing out that that's a section where I'm like, yeah, I prefer the game version. It's a lot more exciting
Okay, then
and bigger.
do something with this building.
Mhm.
What is this
No, this
building
is an
doing?
area.
Yeah,
Well,
literally,
this
what
is
is the
leading to
building
the.
doing? No.
It's holding them up. That's not that's not natural. Boo, skyscrapers.
Yeah, fuck you, skyscrapers. No, but that's what I mean. You have a perfect set piece right here. We're not going to do anything with it.
Well, this is leading to the draft sequence, but yeah, I agree. This is a spot where you could have had like a couple clickers show up that they have to take out. Again, not like a super long set piece or anything. Just a little run in with infected here could have fit. I agree.
And my disc is messing up, probably because the damn thing
Oh
doesn't
damn it!
stay in the slot. I'll be right back.
He'll be right back.
I'll
So
be right back.
Jareth, if you're still watching, you might want to dip out because we will get into spoilers if you don't want to know how this thing ends. I highly recommend the game and the show if you ever get around to either. Because yeah, this ending I think is just wonderful. But thank you for watching, and thank you for the Ashley Johnson trivia. And this is the scene where Ellie almost kills Joel by almost dropping a ladder on his. I'm sure that ladder was made of rubber, but that was a good stunt. I was like, oh my god. And this scene's paced really well, very close to the game. Like this part with the giraffe's very important. It's the hope. It's it's a
What is
nice
this,
moment
Star
for sure.
Wars?
I think it looks really good.
Why are you trying to run off our audience?
I don't want Jareth to be spoiled. Uh, no, this is another one of my favorite scenes in the game. That's done pretty well here. I remember when this aired, some people were complaining like, "Oh, the giraffe looks fake. The CGI is so bad." The giraffe's real. What they did is they went to a zoo somewhere, set up a green screen giraffe, and shot it, and then so everything in the background you're seeing is digital. But the giraffe's real. And I think it looks alright. It definitely looks better in close-ups than far H, but like it's such an important scene. Like this joy that Bella sells. Like it's just such a cute moment. And they're just
Yeah, it's
feeding a
always
little
funny when you
giraffe.
can tell people can't tell CGI from props
Mhm.
or animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see myself playing or watching this anytime soon. Fair enough. No, I mean the animal looks fine. It is the CGI background that's creating a like
Mhm.
uncanny valley.
Well, imagine what this would have looked like on TV 20 years ago.
I watched The Stand. It'd be fine.
I also watched The Shining, which is
Oh
probably some of the worst 90s CGI.
no, no, that goes to I can never remember the name of it. Is it the
It's it's
Langoliers?
it's Langoliers or Tommy Knockers. You got a 50-50 shot.
One of those
It's one of
two.
those two. I never remember which one is which. I haven't watched either of them. I've just seen clips. I haven't read the books.
The
I just
god
know
awful
there's a knife.
CGI mouth
We're talking about the
things.
meatballs. We're talking about the CGI meatballs. And either the Langoliers or the Tommy Knockers. The 90s Stephen King miniseries. And now, were those both based on books, or were one of them like original written for TV things?
I
I
know
don't know.
Tommy Knockers is a book because I started the book, but I never finished it. Langoliers. And based on the novella. Okay. And then the Langoliers is based on a mini series, like a short story. Oh, that's written and directed by Tom Holland. Not that
That
Tom
was fair.
Holland, the other Tom Holland.
Okay.
Okay, Langoliers is the meatball.
Okay.
Dear God. That just makes me uncomfortable to look at. I don't like it, Robert. I don't like it at all.
Jareth asks if this would have been better as a big budget movie. I say no.
No.
I don't think you
Look,
could have made this.
I have a
budget
ton
movie.
of complaints with the way they handle things in this show. It would have been 100 times worse as like a 2 hour film.
Which they were developing for a long time and just they couldn't get it right.
Gee, I wonder why. I saw Uncharted.
And then you have a property like God of War, where that totally makes sense as a movie or a few movies. Just kick-ass R-rated action movie.
And we're skipping the first three.
But nope, we're skipping them and going right for the current popular one.
Which seems really backwards because that's a 2-season thing.
Mhm.
So, how much of season 2 do you think Pedro is actually in?
I think a good chunk of it. There might be a couple episodes he's absent for. In the way the game is structured, like he is in it a lot. You have to endure like 16 hours to 20 hours to get all of it. I think we're getting all the Joel stuff with Pedro in season 2 and more. but there might be a couple episodes he's not in entirely. And there might be a couple episodes where he's just in like one scene.
So
But I
you're
do think we're going
saying
to get.
somewhere between not at all and entirely.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. But I also know for a fact that we're going to get some scenes with him that aren't in the game. Like, one thing that never occurred to me is like Isabel Merced, who's playing Dina on the show, said that she gets some scenes with Pedro and we get to explore that dynamic. It's like, we never do see Dina and Joel on screen together in the game. That's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what that dynamic's like. Because she described Joel as kind of like a cool uncle, but there's obviously something going on with him and Ellie that she doesn't fully understand or know all the details of. That's the stuff that I think will be interesting to flesh out.
We've got Catherine O'Hara as a therapist or
As
something.
a therapist, yeah. But this is a really divisive addition for fans. I think it's great. I love this scene.
I'm conflicted because it just goes into the further of like, I don't know. Joel's the way Joel was fine. I don't know why we had to soften him up. And
Like I said, I like both takes, but I like this confirmation that he attempted to take his own life, and then it didn't work out. But it.
I do think it's a little. I do think it's a little on the nose because you already have in the game. He's not really living. He's just existing.
Mhm.
Now we're literalizing it by he was trying to literally not live.
Yeah, but I think their exchange here is just so good, where he tells, like her takeaway from the story is, well, time heals all wounds, I guess, and he said, I love that line when he says, it wasn't time that did it. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
just
because we got to
cementing
make
the
sure the
scars that they
audience
have.
knows it was Ellie. Ellie saved him.
Well, apparently we needed to because some fans got to the end of this episode and were like, "Oh, it was rushed. I don't buy Joel doing what he does at the end," and I couldn't disagree more. There, you get so much buildup for that. And what this scene does, though, this scene does kind of replace the scene in the game when she has the photo that she gives to him, and he says, "Well, I guess you can't run your past." And I like that scene in the game, but I think this is a nice substitute for it. And I like that we do a
But I
callback
think
to the
that's the
fun book.
problem is they keep substituting lines that are important to the character for things that are just in your
But I
face,
could, but I
and
could
then
just as easily
cutting.
wait. I could just as easily argue that. Well, I guess you just can't outrun your past. I could say that is just as literal and on the nose as what we saw was. I can make that
mm,
exact argument that that's very literal and on the nose, and I think both work fine. And again, we're
Or
just
hear
building.
me out. You show them actually having to survive together and go on adventures like they do in the
Yep,
game, instead
yeah,
of just
we
walking
saw a
through
bunch of
empty
that.
towns.
We saw them survive a lot of dangerous situations. And so, yeah, this is the sequence where, again, it works. It's fine having the Fireflies just ambush them, tear gas. Uh, you still get Joel getting hit in the head. Like, again, it works. Like, it's serviceable, but obviously the sequence in the game is better.
Yeah, says that sucks about God of War. I hadn't heard about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
see
and
how it
again,
goes.
that's a property where I'd be concerned about budget and doing that as a TV show because you
Do it
want the over the
animated.
top action. Yeah, do it animated. That'd be awesome. Not everything needs to be a prestige live action drama.
Like they were gonna try to do Horizon. That's got to be as expensive as God of War to do.
Oh yeah, and also why? Like, who cares? But and this is another scene though that is like word for word. It's paced just like the game. Again, I agree that we could have had another run in it with Infected early on, but from this point on, I think it's paced really well, and I don't think it's rushed at all. It was all
I mean,
her.
to be fair, you're always gonna have people that are just never satisfied.
Mhm.
Um, I think the problem is that when you're adapting this and you cut out all of those action beats that I keep mentioning, they survived two things together: Kansas City and David.
Kansas City, David. But and again, they had some run-ins with infected off screen. It's fine. And all the
If it
episode
doesn't happen
2
on
Boston
screen,
stuff.
it doesn't count.
Okay, well, it's still mentioned. But episode 2 was
Show, don't tell.
They did a lot of showing. I agree.
But
we could have had a couple more. God,
you don't have the
like the counter, like drinking game. You take a shot every time I say, I agree, we could have had a couple more run-ins with infected in the back half. We keep circling around this point over and over again. I still think scenes like this are paced really
missing?
well. I already said earlier when they were in that building, I was like, yeah, you could have had a couple clickers show up there. That's a place where you could have had. We didn't need a horde. This episode doesn't need that, but you could have had a couple clickers early in this episode.
How cool would a horde be?
Horde?
Yeah. That would make it your favorite show.
That'll be next season.
I legitimately don't remember how this hospital sequence plays out, so this is going to be kind of like watching it for the first time. I haven't watched this since it aired.
And like I said, the seasons get progressively shorter as the game, both in terms of gameplay and cutscenes. But if you're just looking at the cutscenes after winter, like it's like 20 minutes. Like you're at the end of that game. And if you are including gameplay and you're speedrunning it, it's like 45 minutes. Like it's really not that long a section. Like that subway sequence you keep talking about, like if you're speedrunning it, like it's a very quick sequence. But again, scenes like this are paced really well. And fuck you, Marlene. I still don't like you. Joel was right. I'm taking that to the grave.
So funny.
Joel
The reason my buddy Jake hates this game / show is he doesn't think Joel did the right thing.
Like, boo, let the girl die. Yeah, this is like I love that game. You know, I love the story. I love the gameplay. I love the characters. I don't want to say the ending makes it for me, but it made it stick with me. It went from being a really
subversion
fun experience
to the trope that seals everything together.
Right. It's the ending I did not see coming, and that's what made it special. Because again, we've seen these archetypes before, we've seen these tropes before: post-apocalyptic, grumpy old angry guy who has to regain his humanity.
Pedro Pascal?
No. Yeah, that's a whole other story. Dude's had a crazy life. But, you know, these are all archetypes. You know, it's a zombie thing or an infected thing. We've seen all these tropes before. But it's the ending of that game that made it stick with me. That made it something special. And I know I've heard from many people say they couldn't get in the game because they're like, yeah, I've seen this before. It's too familiar. And I'm like, gotta get to the end, man. It's about the journey.
I've never had that. If it's a trope that I like, give me more.
Yeah, if it's executed well, I don't care. Joel, stop killing people. Now, this is a sequence where we do lean into the drama and the feeling of it.
No.
Again, could have been a few minutes longer. I still think it's fine. I love that we do the music from the game when you're carrying Ellie, when you're running with her. We get that earlier. We get that here, and it works. But I do think this sequence could have been like a couple minutes longer. But I do like seeing Joel go into full Terminator mode where he's just emotionless.
Yeah, give me more of this.
And it goes further to prove my point where I'm like, yeah, the Fireflies just suck. Like, they're not good at what they're doing.
They are bad at their job, folks. Robert thinks they should all die because of it.
Yes. That's exactly what I think. Yeah, well, and again, I love the moral ambiguity of this ending. I love these dark choices he has made. This is not in the game, but an interesting addition where he kills a guy with Ellie's own knife. That feels wrong, but it's brutal. But it's also it just makes it that much more intimate and personal. Like some of this action here, I think we could have spent a couple more minutes on. But yep, that's a lot of dead fireflies.
Do you think Joel is the main character?
Is Joel the bad guy?
He took the assault rifle. This is unrealistic. At this
Oh.
point, I was carrying the assault rifle, the flamethrower, the bow and arrow, two pistols, a shotgun pistol thing.
Oh, and in this scene, we're gonna get another cameo from the games. Do you know about this?
No.
One of the nurse, and this was secret. Like this was not spoiled or leaked. One of the nurses here is Laura Bailey. Abby from the second game.
So it's one of those cameos where you can't actually tell who it is.
Yeah, you can hear her voice.
I don't know what she sounds like normally.
She's a voice actress, really.
That's what I'm saying. And I don't know.
And, like looks into the camera.
I don't know what she sounds like when she's not doing a voice.
But it's perfect though, because that's technically her first role in the Last of Us universe. She is one of those nurses in the game. I don't remember if that's when Naughty Dog first works with her, but yeah, she's in that game. She's one of the nurses.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got confused for a second. Like, what are you talking about? This show came out after the game.
Yeah, but then of course, so she has that bit role in the game, and then gets Uncharted 4, where she gets a much bigger role, and then that leads her to getting Abby in Last of Us 2.
She is also Kid Trunks in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, there you go. Good question, Jareth. He asks if they're making a third game. Officially, no, but it could be in the works.
If they are, it won't be until after that new IP they launched.
Right. Oh, it's like 5 or 6 years away from coming out.
A long.
If you remember in that Last of Us 2 documentary, which is wonderful, talking about that whole experience making that game, at the very end, Neil Druckmann said that he had an idea of where to go with the third one. So he didn't confirm it. He just said that he had an idea.
Were you saying you didn't know if that was the first Naughty Dog game she worked on?
Yeah, that I'm not sure.
The Last of Us 1?
Yeah, that I'm not sure about. If she did.
Oh my god, she's in Resident Evil 6.
Oh, everyone's favorite.
It's funny because when you go to her like Wikipedia page for video games, it's just like so many Dragon Ball games because they constantly pump those things out.
Yeah, it's a steady job, steady work.
Yes, I think that is the first Naughty Dog game she worked on. But like, she has been in a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I hear Laura Bailey, all I hear is Kid Trunks. There you go. And Dragon. So this is going to connect because she plays Kid Trunks, who in the anime voices or fuses with another boy, Goten, to voice Gotenks. And the way they do the fusion is they combine the two actress or actresses' voices. Goten is the younger brother of Gohan. Gohan's original voice actress, is the guitarist in Friday the 13th Part 8.
Good for her. That's awesome. And once we're down from the elevator, and get to the Marlene scene. I mean, this is just paced like beat for beat the game, and it's executed wonderfully. That crust cutting back and forth is just so good. Like this ending when I first played this game was such a visceral experience.
Yeah, I mean, I am liking this episode more than I remember.
Yeah, like, oh man, he's just selling the scene.
Oh, okay. She was Gohan in the Funimation Bond dub. The Dragon Ball Z is weird, where one company starts producing it and then it moves to Funimation, and they take over, and that's the cast like everybody knows. But it's funny, you can find, because that other company kept going. It's called the Ocean Dub, and you can find it. And nowadays, listening to the Ocean Dub just seems wrong. Like it's those characters, but like with the wrong voices.
And I also want to say too, I have my sister and a couple friends of mine who never played the game, didn't know where this was going, watched the show and had a great experience with it. This ending just gutted them, and I was like, yes! Like the experience I had with the game, my sister and a couple of close personal friends had with the show. So I was like, okay, good, uh, because this ending's just so wonderful. And again, it's dark and complex and nuanced, and for some reason, like and a reason why a lot of Last of Us fans hated the second game was their takeaway was, oh well, they just confirmed that Joel was bad and did the wrong thing. I'm like, that's not how I read that game at all. It's all about
No,
the complexities of that choice.
people had the wrong. Well, it's funny too because I recently had somebody talk to me and tell me that Abby was in the right the whole time, and I was like, well,
That's not
that
correct either.
that's like an oversimplification. How can you say
Mhm.
that Abby is correct and then say Ellie is wrong for doing the same thing that Abby is doing?
Right.
They're both right.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck you, Marlene. Robert, are you ready for the outrage when season 2 comes out?
Oh boy. We'll be there. Did you see this Jareth comment?
The ocean dub, Funimation is yeah, but I mean that dub, the Funimation. So I haven't seen the ocean dub of Dead Zone, but you have to keep in mind that Funimation dubbed uh, Dead Zone like 30 years ago, and they've never went back and redubbed that. And I've never been a big fan of the Dead Zone. It's fine.
I wanted you to read that because I'm like, I have no stake in this.
I'm gonna make you a
um,
Dragon Ball fan yet, Robert.
yeah. I love this bit where Joel talks about taking Sarah on these hikes. Where it's just like is Joel just replacing his daughter? Like, yeah, kind of. That's
Yes.
where, and that's why I find him so complex and interesting. It's not that what he did was wrong. It's the motivation is skewed. Like, yes, he does love Ellie. That is genuine, but he doesn't fully see her as an individual. It still comes up from a place of whether intentional or not. Like, he is replacing his daughter, and that's not
Well, and
healthy.
I see the other side too, where people be, well, you know, I didn't really get it until I was a parent, but yeah, I do the same thing for my kid. Yeah, but that's not his kid. Like,
Right. Hell,
it's
it
a
is.
girl that he found on the streets, basically.
You're Sarah now. Wear this wig. Put on these clothes. You're like, oh god,
It's
this got
it's
weird.
the meme like, oh, you're Robin now. Put on this outfit.
Put on these green shorts. Oh, that shot's gorgeous. And I've always said Joel killing the Fireflies rescuing Ellie. I've always stood by that choice. Where I think Joel is in the wrong is when he lies to her, when he doesn't trust her with the truth. And you get why he does. Like, it's understandable because he doesn't know how she's going to react. But they've also known each other for like a year at this point. And then we dive into that second one.
She would not have reacted well.
Yeah.
She needed her immunity to mean something.
Yes. But do you also think it rubs salt in the wound, though, that it's like, when that comes out, it's not a week later, it's years later. It's the persistent lying. Like, that just makes it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, the way Bella delivers that's just so gut-wrenching. And the music's exactly the same. Perfect.
Location or a green screen?
That was on location.
Well, it's not just the years, Robert. It's promise me that everything you said was true, and he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how do you think she reacts if in that... But I'm talking both versions, just in general. In that moment, if he confesses to what happened, how do you think she reacts? Do you think she still goes...
I think it's the same reaction because she needs her immunity to mean something either way. But I think by the time you get to 2, that's when they would have started to mend. Because they don't take long to mend fences.
Yeah, all things considered, it's like less than 2 years, which in an apocalypse can be a while, but still, like, it's relative. I mean, I know people who have had decades long grudges, so yeah, they do start making amends relatively quickly, given the subject matter. But yeah, like I said, not a perfect
that was
show,
Look for the Light,
but I do really like it. Yep,
I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Let's hope season 2 is better.
yeah, we'll see. I also think, as much as I love that second game, there is the possibility that the show version surpasses the game for me. I'm not saying it will, because with the show, with season 1, that was never going to happen.
Because the second game, I love it. It has some pacing issues.
It does. So yeah, well, another time we will discuss more, our final bit of speculation for season 2. And season 2 is premiering a week from Sunday.
Fuck.
Do you want to talk about this after? Because I had an idea.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to wrap it up first.
All right.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you guys for watching.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're watching this after the fact, please consider hitting that thumbs up and/or subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one. If you're watching if you're watching live with us, thanks for hanging out. Robert, thanks for arguing with me for 4 hours. I had fun.
Yeah.
And we will see you guys Sunday for Alan Wake